All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and start this regular City Council meeting Wednesday, March 8th, 2023 at 6 p.m. The invocation is Reverend Grant Foster here. Yes, sir. Come forward. Please rise, everyone, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember McPartland.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for the privilege we have to serve in our city. We thank you for this wonderful place that you've given us to live, for this council, this staff. We pray blessing on this meeting tonight. We ask all this in the mighty, wonderful name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, you may be seated. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Mayor Jones.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nunn.
Here.
Councilmember Dixon. Here. Councilmember Dodd.
Here.
And Councilmember McPartland.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Councilor, is there any agenda modifications? All right, hearing none. We're going to go ahead and go right into the proclamations, awards, and brief announcements. First, we have a proclamation for the Irish American Heritage Month. And with us here today to receive this is Mr. and Ms. Sullivan. If you would come up, I'll read from here, and then I'll come down and present, and then we'll have council come together. You guys can stand up in front, and we'll take a photograph. All right. Proclamation, Irish American Heritage Month, March 2023. Whereas the month of March has been recognized as Irish American Heritage Month by Florida's Irish American community. And whereas the Irish first came to Spanish La Florida in the 1500s, first as missionaries and mercenary soldiers, and then as planters, traders, businessmen, doctors, and administrators. And whereas 3 of the Spanish governors of La Florida were actually Irish military officers. And whereas Andrew Jackson, whose family came from County Antrim, Ireland, served as Florida's military governor following its acquisition by the United States. And whereas Irish Americans have provided leadership and service to this nation's political, business, and religious establishments since America's inception, it is fitting and proper to celebrate the rich cultural heritage and the many valuable contributions of Irish Americans. Now, therefore, I, Fred Jones, do hereby proclaim March 2023 as Irish American Heritage Month in the city of Sebastian, and ask our citizens to celebrate and promote the cultural heritage of Irish Americans in our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the great city of Sebastian to be affixed this 8th day of March 2023. I like walking, so that's why I got it. Bill, there you go. Turn around.
Hello, my name is Jim Sullivan. I'm the chairman on the State Board of Freedom for All Ireland, and I'm on the local division number 2 in Sebastian. I'm the president now of that division. When the worthy mayor here said to you that the Irish came to Florida real early, it was in fact in St. Augustine on that Spanish ship that came over. There was a Catholic chaplain from Ireland, and he formed the first church, dioceses, and I think he also built a cathedral up in Jacksonville when the Spanish first got here. We were founded, the Ancient Order Hibernians were founded. We're the oldest and largest Catholic Irish organization in the country. We founded in 1836 in New York, and they say a little bit later, maybe 2 weeks later in Pennsylvania. And we were here basically to preserve the church because it was the first time Catholic churches were being built up north. So we've been around a while, and our goals are, we're a nonprofit, our goals are collect funds, and we distribute it throughout the local community, throughout the state, like we did in Hurricane Ian, Hurricane Sandy upstate, up in New York. And we also sent money out to Puerto Rico when they had the hurricane too. So we collect money and we give it out as fast as possible. I'd like to turn it over to my wife now, who's the state president for the Ladies Ancient Order Hibernians.
Good evening. We are a separate organization totally from the men. We are not an auxiliary. We are our own corporation. We are a true not-for-profit. When my husband mentioned Hurricane Ian on the other coast, I had gotten a call from our national president who lives in Ohio. And what do you guys need down there? And I said, you know what? I need to call the ladies on the other coast and find out what's going on with our divisions. Luckily, our divisions were fine. But the need was still there. Within 2 weeks, the ladies across this country that were Hibernians raised $30,000 and sent it to the Diocesan of Venice because they were in need, and they distributed it out among the families and the peoples there that were rebuilding, feeding them and stuff. So we do help out. Indian River, we're new. We're only here since 2018, my division, Indian River County. But we've raised money, we've done events and given money to the local veterans groups. We did during COVID. We were doing food meals to go out of St. Sebastian Catholic Church and then donating all our proceeds to the local food pantries so that they could purchase goods to feed the people that were in need at that time. We sponsor softball team at St. Sebastian High School and also the Little League fields down on Barber. So we're definitely trying to get our toes wet here. And we're having fun doing it, and we do post and we do advertise what we're doing, and feel free to join in and attend some of our events. Thank you.
She just said some of our events. We are having an Irish American Heritage dance on March 25th here in St. Sebastian, and it's $25 with dinner and dessert. And libations will be at a modest cost, of course.
All right, thank you. You guys have someone to take a picture? Because I'll have the council stand up and you guys can come back here. We'll do it. Yeah.
Mr. Meyer.
All right, thank you. Yep, no, that's fine. Yep.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Say corned beef.
All right, we have one more proclamation. Ben Ehrman and Luis Batista, could you guys please come forward? Now, this is a proclamation celebrating the Older Americans Act Nutrition Program. Whereas on March 22nd, 1972, President Nixon signed into law a measure that amended the Older Americans Act of 1965 to include a national nutrition program for individuals 60 years and older. And whereas each year, Meals on Wheels programs join together for the March for Meals awareness campaign to celebrate its success and garner the support needed to ensure this critical program continues to address food insecurity and malnutrition, combat social isolation, enable independence, and improve health for years to come. And whereas Indian River County's Meals on Wheels program has served our community admirably for over 48 years, and in the past year have provided 106,197 meals to 783 clients. And whereas in this past year, 214 individuals have volunteered a total of 21,378 hours delivering nutritious meals to seniors and individuals with disabilities, helping them to maintain their health and independence. And whereas Meals on Wheels programs in Indian River County deserve recognition for the heroic contributions and essential services they have provided and will continue to provide to local communities, our state, and our nation. And whereas the senior population is increasing substantially, and action is needed now to support local Meals on Wheels programs through federal, state, and local funding, volunteering, donations, and raising awareness to ensure these vital services can continue to be delivered for years to come. Now, therefore, I, Fred Jones, as mayor of the city of Sebastian, do hereby proclaim March 2023 as a month of celebrating the Older Americans Act Nutrition Program, and urge every community member to take this month to honor our Meals on Wheels programs. The seniors they serve and the volunteers who care for them, our recognition of and involvement in the national celebration can enrich our entire community and help combat senior hunger and isolation in America. In witness whereof, I have here unto set my hand and cause the seal of the great city of Sebastian to be affixed this 8th day of March 2023.
We'll do that first. Yes, thank you very much. Meals on Wheels programs within Indian River County is operated by us, Senior Resource Association. Meals on Wheels is a national program. We do serve over 400 plus meals a day throughout all of Indian River County, and as the proclamation stated, over 700 clients throughout the past year. However, there's still 300 plus seniors on the wait list to receive nutritious meals during the day. And we couldn't do our Meals on Wheels program without our volunteers. They are the backbone of our program, and they do deliver meals throughout Indian River County to all of our seniors and those with disabilities, not necessarily just seniors. An example of a story that for volunteers that a few weeks ago, one of their clients was at home and they were on the floor. No one else was home because no one else lives in the home with this client. And if it wasn't for our Meals on Wheels volunteer delivering that meal, we don't know how long that person might have been on the floor, what may have happened to them. So our volunteer followed the correct protocol to check on that client, and now that client has additional services because our Meals on Wheels volunteer delivered their meal and was also providing that daily wellness check to them. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Shall I get a picture?
Yes.
Yeah. One more time. And thank you for the evidence. You like moving my hair?
We appreciate snacks.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
All right, we're going to have a couple of brief announcements read by Vice Mayor Nunn.
Saturday and Sunday, March 11th and 12th, we have the Craft Club of Sebastian show at the Riverview Park from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. River Days and Craft Brew Hubbabaloo at the Riverview Park. That's Friday, March 17th from 3 to 8 p.m. Saturday, March 18th from 10 a.m. to till 8 p.m. Sunday, March 19th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The last item is March 22nd. The Tiki Bar will have the mural ribbon cutting for our second mural as part of the mural program in the city of Sebastian at 4 p.m. on March 22nd.
March. All right, thank you. We're going to move on to public input and our agenda, and this is for speaking on anything that's not currently on the agenda. And before we get anyone else come up, I'd like to have the Sebastian Little League baseball and softball staff come forward. I think that mic there works. Mr. President.
Good evening. I just want to come today, thank our Mayor, Fred Jones. This past Saturday, we had our opening day. Our league has grown tremendously. We have 290 players with 26 teams, and Fred Jones, through our first opening pitch, gave a speech. It was a great day, and we want to present him with an autographed baseball from the entire board of Sebastian Little League.
Oh.
And he threw a perfect pitch.
Well,
Thank you, guys.
I'm sure it was a ball, but.
Thank you.
I'd also like to thank our City Parks Department. They do a fantastic job with our fields at Barber, with Antoine and Mitch and CJ and the whole crew that works out there. They do fantastic. So I want to say thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Talking about my pitch. All right, is there anyone else from the public who would like to speak on anything that's not currently on the agenda? Do we have anyone on Zoom?
Nobody has raised their hand.
All right, closing that part up, we'll go on to the consent agenda. Council, does anybody have anything?
I'd like to move approval of consent agenda item 8A through 8G.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Nunn,
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin,
Yes.
and Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Next item on our agenda is committee reports and appointments. Any member have a committee report to announce? I haven't had my beach and shoreline yet. That's coming up this week, I believe, but I don't have anything either. Public hearings, we have none. Unfinished business, none. Under new business, item 12A, consider exclusive curbside solid waste collection services with waste management. Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, Mayor, members of council, the contract with Waste Management, the current contract is well over 10 years old. It's set to expire in June 30th of this year. Our procurement department did an awesome job putting out a request for proposals. We did only receive one proposal, that was from Waste Management. And we put it out in a way that would allow for options, that we would be able to have either our current situation, we have subscription service twice a week, vegetation once a week. It has your bulk waste. If you have a sofa or dresser, you put it out, it's on call. Just want to be clear that recycling is not part of this contract. Waste Management has a contract with Indian River County, and that fee you pay to Indian River County on your landfill fee is what covers that cost and the cost of the convenience center. So don't confuse the recycling is part of this contract because it is completely separate. And then so what we did is we asked for proposals for exactly what we have today. We asked for a proposal for subscription service, one time a week, one time vegetation, and one time bulk pickup. And that was provided. And then we asked for universal, which means everybody would get the garbage collection, everybody would pay, and it would go on their non-ad valorem tax roll. And so that was universal, was twice a week, and same thing, vegetation once a week, and bulk goods once a week. And then the last one was for universal service. Again, everybody would have it. It would go on your tax roll and as non-ad valorem taxes, and it was once a week. And again, once a week garbage, and once a week yard waste, and once a week curb. With the universal, going to, if we went to once a week, you would have an option of 3 size cans. You can get a 96-gallon can, you can get the 65-gallon can, and they make a smaller one. So you have options there, and then I think for around $90, you can have an additional cart, one-time fee, $90, you can have 2 carts. You can have 2 96-gallon carts, and then there would be no additional charges to that. So we look at those rates, and for single, for what we currently have, and we kept the exact same service today, their proposal is $42 a month. Now, today you're paying $42 a quarter, so that's a significant increase. But we didn't know, we knew that this was coming when they came to us last year to ask for a raise based on cost of goods and services and trucks and cans and equipment and personnel and fuel. So it wasn't, I didn't expect to be this high, but we knew there was going to be some substantial increases. The once a week, if we went from twice a week that we have today to once a week, it would go to $27.75, and again, that's a subscription service. If you want it, you get it. If you don't want it, you don't have to have it. And then our once a week, twice a week, same service we have today, but universal, where everybody would get it, that would be $29.74. And then if we went to once a week universal, it is all of the services, but your garbage would be only collected once a week, and that would be $19.45. So let me kind of put that in perspective a little bit about what's around us, because one of the things is what is people paying around us and how does it compare? And it's across the board. It varies, but some of it's not within, it's within these price ranges, within percentages. So let's take City of Okeechobee. It's 1, 1, and 1. It is mandatory, universal, and it's $27.73 a month. And again, our quote is $19.75 a month. And let me quantify this. Every city has different circumstances. It's spaces between houses. It's the number of units. It's how many streets they have to back down. So every dollar amount isn't going to be comparable. Okeechobee may be further spread out, less customers per service mile versus like us. So these numbers are relative. So keep that in mind. Port St. Lucie just went out and procured a new contract when they terminated their contract with Waste Pro, and theirs is mandatory, universal, and it's 1, 1, and 1, and it is $34.68. The difference with that one is that also includes their dump fee. This contract, you pay your dump fee on your non-ad valorem, so there's, I think it's like a $10 or $11 charge, so you'd be looking at about $24 for just a service, excluding the dump fee. So then Palm Bay, they are $29.94, and it's mandatory, universal, 2 times for garbage, and then 1 for 1, and then additional cart is $10.31. Malabar is 2 times, and they limit their garbage, their vegetation to 12 cubic yards. We limit ours to 4, so I want to make that note. And Malabar is $43.88 a month. And Grant Valcaria is a mandatory 2, 1, and 1. It's $26.99. Now the next 2 are very inexpensive because they're very old contracts. Indian River County's contract is subscription service 1 and 1. It's $10.75, and Fellsmere is $10.75, and they piggyback off the county. But those contracts are coming up to bid, so those prices are not going to hold true for long. One of the questions I was asked is, when is the county going to bid out the landfill maintenance that also covers the convenience centers? And the solid waste director told me it was in 2024, but he couldn't give me any idea what the rate changes would be on that, so I can't give you that information. So one of the things we looked at is, what do the people want? We had a couple workshops, and we had people that were for universal, people who were for subscription, and so City Council had provided me with direction to try to find some way to reach out to the residents through flyers, and that it just wasn't going to be convenient or time appropriate to get anything back to you. Sebastian Daly has an email list that can target just Sebastian. It's regulated, only one email can vote. And so he put an email out last night and ended it at 3 o'clock today. It went to 13,708 residents. Barbara, can you pull that up? So it went out to 13,708 Sebastian residents. We had 4,629 responses. So I took the same scale that we used on the bid sheet and asked the check one, subscription service twice a week. Our current rate at $42 is 2%. Wanted that. Subscription once a week was 14%, which is a total of 16% for subscription based on those numbers. And then we asked them about universal. Do you want universal once a week or twice a week? Twice a week was 16%, and universal once a week was 68%, for a total of 84% of the people who responded wanted universal, whether it be twice a week. Obviously, once a week was obviously the obvious choice, and I'm sure that was based on dollar amounts. And still, I mean, yeah, you're not going to reach everybody. You're not going to go door to door. There's going to be people, but if we considered during our presentation on our citizen engagement survey that 700 to 1,000 was a 95.5% certainty of what the people wanted to see in the city, we're well above those numbers today. So we're going to ask for direction on the city council, how they would like the city to proceed, how they would like me to proceed with this contract. I know Waste Management is here to answer any questions and talk about this if they need to be. And I will turn it over to City Council for comments, questions, ideas.
All right, very good. We're going to go ahead and open it up for public input now, and then council will ask questions. Anyone from the public would like to speak on this item? Come forward. Just stand back there, get in line, get ready to come up next. Yes, ma'am.
Stand and deliver.
Sebastian.
You're not bashful.
Hello again, because I was at your workshops. First, I want to start by saying thank you for everything that y'all do. I know at the beginning you said this was going to be an easy decision, and then everybody messed it up for you. So I appreciate everything that everybody has done. I haven't changed my mind, but anyhow. First, I want to address the survey. Thank you, Andy. That was very good. But there was also another one that was out on Facebook, and they pretty much read the same. The one thing that I noticed about both of those, everybody voted for the cheapest option and then asked, what's universal? A lot of these people had no idea what was going on in their tax rolls, and that should have been explained in those surveys, in my opinion. So moving on from there. I still had a couple of questions. I'm not going to debate, how good it is going to be subscription or universal, but the other night during the workshop, I asked something about franchise fees. And I asked, why am I paying a franchise fee? I don't have a franchise in Sebastian. And I pulled my waste management invoice, and I'm not paying a franchise fee. So why am I paying a franchise fee now of 6% over what's listed in the prices?
Very good. You need an answer to that?
You can answer in your little conversations or whatever. Well, I mean at the end, because I know you don't do the question and answer right now.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest thing, is I want to know why I'm paying a franchise fee. And being able to look at the agenda packet today, I saw a few more things than what I had normally seen to begin with. And the original blank forms that were sent out when it went out for bids and stuff like that, of everything, everybody had to send back, fill out, send back, attach this, attach that. One of the things was the fee form, like we have now. The original one did not have a franchise fee at the bottom, and it did not have a pickup and delivery fee at the bottom. However, one of the questions in amendment number 6, I believe it was can the franchise fee be shown on the customer's invoice? And the city said no. Why would we conceal that? Number 2, they had asked, that's in the trucks, I'll go to that for a minute. But so I'm really wondering why I have to pay the franchise fee when I feel like what I'm doing is I'm paying their franchise fee. So maybe somebody can explain that really good. The next thing was the other night, Mr. McPartland had asked, why can't we just kind of put this off and then the county and Fellsmere and Sebastian all do it at the same time or whatever, and just extend their contract for a couple of years or whatever. And everybody said, oh, no, we can't do that. Again, in one of the amendments, I don't remember if it was 6 or 4 now, the question was, can we extend the contract to allow time for our new trucks to come in? Of course, the answer was no. So I don't know why you wouldn't be able to say, okay, we'll just extend it for a while, and number one, worry about the new, give them time to come in, and maybe at that time we could have a little bit more things. Because one thing that I did notice in the packet that Waste Management sent back, a lot of those forms were signed in December of '22, and here we are 2 days before the meeting when y'all wanted to vote on it. You had a workshop, and that to me didn't set well for some reason. So, and then we move on to the trucks. It was made a mention the other day night, I don't remember which meeting it was, about them supplying, a requirement for them to supply brand new trucks. But that was not in their contract. But in the proposals that they sent back, the proposal information they sent back, they said they're established and reliable, they have the vehicles in place for disruption and risk-free transition. And on the next page, they said their collection vehicles are already in place. And it said ready to roll on day 1 of the new contract. So if they do need new trucks, why can't we give them the time to get them? I just don't understand all of that. No, we can't give you any time. No, we can't extend this. They're going to provide new trucks, but it's not in the contract. So if they've got all these trucks that, number one, work, number two, are serviced, from what they say, they're serviced impeccably. And I personally haven't seen any broke down on the side of the road, but I just don't understand why the rush, why the franchise fee. So I have not changed my mind. I'm still going to ask my city council to vote for subscriber with 1 pickup. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Julie Judson, and I've been a resident of Sebastian for 40 years. And I just don't understand how Waste Management, and I would like to ask the representative, how anybody can warrant a 300% increase in these fees. It's just, it's outrageous. The Waste Management has been subpar in the last few months, as we all know, and we're trying to give them a break. I know there's probably staffing issues, as with everything else, but who in this room would like a 300% increase in any goods and services, is my question. So that's really about all I have to say.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Hi, excuse me, sorry. Hi, Christina Roberts. I live on Ridgely Lane. I, for one, just to start off, I'm for once a week universal. I wasn't able to join any of the workshops, but thank you guys for putting those on. I did send an email thanking you just so you could get the word out to us. But a couple points that I noticed. I think it was Councilman McPartland, he mentioned one of the reasons that we only have 1 bid from Waste Management is because we have a history of subscription. There's no reason for these other companies to want to give us a universal option because most likely we wouldn't go with that. So I think if we want to have a chance at a better deal 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I think we need to look seriously at a universal option so that we can have a free market of multiple different providers offering that option to us. I think ultimately the price is going up either way. You know, obviously it's either going to triple or double or whatever it is, but one of the main reasons I want to go to universal is because with these giant fee increases, I do believe that there are people that have great intentions and will want to pay the subscription service or use the service centers, but the service centers are already overwhelmed, especially during hurricane season. Can they handle those additional people? And not only that, people with the best intentions, the trash has got to go somewhere. If they've got to cut a bill, and that's what they cut, or they can't get to the convenience center, where is that trash going to end up? It's going to end up in recycling cans, which I know the guy mentioned during the workshop is a problem. It's going to end up in people's yards, empty lots, parks, our waterways, and then the same vocal group of people are going to be back up here yelling at our poor council members about solving the trash problem. So for me personally and for my family, we're going to be getting our trash collected either way. The difference is we would much prefer to be paying that lower rate when we do. So thank you, guys.
All right, thank you so much. Is there anyone else? Come on up, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Susan Kiefer. I live on Easy Street. And I did not attend the workshops. I just found out from next door neighbor today about this. I have some questions which I don't know if anyone can answer or if this is just me asking questions with no answers. Is that the format here?
No, you can place out your information, and we will ask during our time, ask the city manager, or if the council doesn't have, I don't have a problem with you
Just
asking
answering.
a question to me, and then I'll have someone answer that for you.
All right, well, I have a question. What's the difference between universal versus mandatory? Are they the same word?
No, that's the same thing.
Okay, so everyone was talking about mandatory on the next door neighbor, but why don't, nobody understands the word universal.
Oh, yeah.
So, the other question I have is, does everybody have to have the same choice? Why does it, can we not have individual choices? For instance, I'm a single person living alone. I have garbage pickup once a month. That's all I ever put out there. So, do we all have to have the same plan?
Yes, it'd be difficult to track any other ones.
Because in the subscription plan, like if I had missed a payment, they would not pick up at my house. They would say, you didn't make your payment. So they're aware of who was paying and who was not paying. Mm-hmm. So they would know who had the once a month pickup option, in other words. And I, saw some other comments of other people who hardly have any garbage. I just, I know some people were saying they need the twice a week because of raccoons or whatever, but I don't have any garbage. So the mandatory, has that been determined? That's a done deal? You're still voting on it?
No, we haven't voted on anything yet.
Okay.
No.
Because I know people do go to the dump now, and I have not, but rather than pay $42 a month for my one monthly garbage bag, I would definitely choose taking it to the dump myself, but that would not be an option with the mandatory either?
No, if it's universal, then you can take it to the dump, but you're still going to be paying for it on your taxes.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yeah,
Hey,
sure.
hi, Susan. So if we choose subscription, you can still take yours to the dump. It'll still be a single plan for everybody that chooses subscription.
Which is every month?
Which was probably going to end up being one pickup. I doubt we'll vote for two pickups, just it's so expensive.
Hey.
So it'll be, I know, I'm speaking for myself. But whatever we choose will be the only option. Subscription, you will have an option.
You can opt out?
Yes.
With subscription, yes.
Only
If we go
subscription.
universal, you cannot. It's
So why
mandatory.
wouldn't you choose the choice? What's the advantage of everybody having the
$100 savings per year,
a one-time $100 savings?
every year.
Every year.
It's $100 cheaper every year.
To do a universal?
Yes. It's $10 cheaper per month than subscription. That's a financial reason. There's other reasons.
Otherwise,
possibly.
it'd be $52 a month, you're saying?
Well, I mean,
No.
we're not going to, personally,
No.
I could never vote for that, but we.
But it
can't
would
get
be
into that yet.
42, though,
Yeah, it would be 42.
At most.
at most, if we were to go to that, so.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir, Mr.
can I
Dodd?
correct that? The universal option of one pickup a week is $19.45 a month. The subscription option for one pickup a week is $27.75 per month.
What's that figure out to be?
Okay, so I just want to make sure you heard the correct numbers on that.
You're saying $19.45 or $27 a month?
Yes,
But so what's the
$19.45 is
$42?
universal, one pickup a week, plus yard waste, plus bulk items.
Yeah, $99.60 a week.
$27.75 per month is subscription
Per month?
per month, subscription, one pickup a week, yard waste, and bulk pickup.
And currently, that's what you're thinking you're going to be voting for?
No.
We don't
We don't know
have
yet.
that decision yet. Anybody up here tells you how they're going
Yeah.
to vote is broken the sunshine law. We
Well,
don't wanna do
we're
that.
just listening to the comments from everybody like we have for the last few days, receive emails, phone calls. I know I've received hundreds, so, but I'm pretty sure the other council as well.
I just chimed in because you were thinking $42 a month. I want to make sure you had the right numbers.
So it's not 42 a month?
No, it's not,
Only
it's
if
not
there's
42.
2 pickups a week.
Well,
subscription.
$42
You have 4 choices.
$42 a month is if there's 2 pickups a week.
Which you're not going to vote for?
No,
We
I
don't
can't
know.
say how
You
we're
have
going
four
to
don't know
choices,
yet.
just
We'll decide
relax.
once we get there.
Let's just leave it at a choice between 1945 and 2775. How's that?
There you go.
Okay, and if it's universal / mandatory, that would be coming out of taxes,
Taxes,
not
yes.
a monthly bill?
Correct.
That's correct.
Which taxes are part of your home payment?
And if you have an escrow account, yes. Yes.
So my mortgage would go up $20 a month if we did that option, if that's what we chose.
So when you said it was $100 savings a year, that would be on the $19 a month?
Over the
No matter what the
single,
choice is,
yes.
is a $10 savings
No,
a month?
confused.
The difference between 2775 and 1945 is
1945,
approximately $100 per year.
99.60.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think that a lot of people are now aware that this is going on thanks to things like Next Door Neighbor. And if you did want a survey, you know, potentially that would be a great place to ask people's opinions. Anyway, so I'm voting for the subscription though, with 1 pickup a month.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your input.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience? Do we have anyone on Zoom?
I have several people on Zoom.
All right, let's start with the first one.
Hello, Miss Wynn, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry. My name is Heather Wynn. I've been a resident of Sebastian for about 4 or 5 years now. I did attend one of the workshops, and I also did receive one of the surveys. And I'd like to just echo what a few other people have said so far is nowhere in the survey or even in the information that was provided breaking down the prices did it identify the universal option as something that is mandatory. I think a lot of people have the same thought process where, well, the price is going to increase, so I might as well pick the least painful option, which again, in the beginning was very appealing to me as well. $19.45 is a little bit cheaper than $27 or $42, so it is very appealing. But a couple questions that I have, in addition to the questions that I asked on Monday evening, is just making sure, again, people understand that, you know, I've heard a lot of people say, well, I'll pick the 1945 because it's less, and then I'll just take my trash to the dump. Just to echo what was said before, you can do that, but you're paying for a service that you're not using. I'd also be curious how this affects some of our snowbirds who may have the option now to suspend or put their service on some sort of vacation mode. So perhaps they're only paying for trash service 4 or 6 months out of the year. And if we go with the universal option, they will be paying, or will they be paying for 12 months, you know, which is about $233 if you go with the 1945 option on their taxes. Another question I have is, I believe this contract is up in June or July. How is that going to work? Are we going to have a portion of a payment for partial year service before our taxes come out? So we're having to pay whatever that 1945 is across those number of months, and then turn around in October and November and have to pay another $233 on our taxes. I understand, you know, as someone who has an escrow account on my mortgage, that yes, my mortgage might only go up $20 a month, but $20 a month is a lot to some people. And I think, again, had people have known and received the information as part of whatever survey was put out that universal equals mandatory, that $19.45 might not seem as appealing to people who don't have trash service today.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We haven't, someone else?
Yes, one second. Hello, Mr. McCollum, can you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect.
I just want to make a few comments on what I've heard tonight. This is Nelson McCollum, 554 Gossamer Wingway. Three statements I heard that I felt was a little false. One, the woman mentioned that the service centers are overwhelmed. I take my trash to the Roseland Service Center. It's never overwhelmed. I have no trouble driving in and out of there every time I go, so I wouldn't say that Roseland's overwhelmed. Another comment was made about we need universal so there won't be trash laying all over the city. This was kind of also talked about the workshop. That's not a problem now. I drive the city every day, different areas. I don't see trash laying around as a problem. And if it was, yes, maybe universal would be more needed, but that's not a problem and universal isn't needed. And the third point, Mr. Nunn just mentioned, what's the difference that universal is $100 a year savings. That might be true for the people that are current subscribers to trash service, but for people like me that aren't, it's a $233 a year new expense that I'll be forced to pay if you do choose to do universal. So saying it's $100 savings, maybe that's true for subscribers. It's not true for non-subscribers, and that needs to be clarified. And as far as your survey, I'm not sure how the list of emails you sent it to, but I never received that. And I think it would be helpful if you definitely clarify, when you vote for subscription service, you're voting for a choice. I can take my own trash off and not pay a fee, or I can hire Waste Management to come get it. It's my choice. When you vote for universal, you're voting for a mandatory trash fee to be added to your tax bill. If you take your own trash off now, you're voting to add a $233 expense to your budget. And just clarify those terms so residents know what they're saying they're for, so they understand the terms. Thank you for your time.
Yes, sir, thank you. We have one more?
Those are the only ones who have raised their hands.
Okay, very good.
Wait, one of them just raised their hand.
Okay.
Hello, Ms. Kavinder, can you hear us?
Hello, you there?
Hello?
All right, we move on. Do we have another one?
She just unmuted.
Okay.
Well, I can't hear her. I'm just gonna.
All right, well, maybe they'll call back in or something. We'll give them an opportunity if they're able to get back in, but for now, we're gonna go ahead and close public input. And we're gonna start with council questions or comments. We'll start with, on my left, Mr. McPartland.
Go first, eh? Okay.
Yeah, you always go last. I want you to get
right.
your words in early, man.
All right. No, it's kind of hard to figure out where to get started. I was here for the contract 10 years ago when we did it. And again, there were 4 bidders, I believe, that bid for the contract. Again, Sebastian is known as a subscription city. Means you can opt in or opt out. And that's why I truly believe there was only 1 bidder. Waste Management, I think, does an excellent job. I have never had a problem with Waste Management in 10 years. And if you had asked me this question, what we're looking to vote on here is either we're going to raise your trash rates will go up 50% or up 300%. So you can't win. Bottom line, it's going up. The cost of everything is going up. And I know Waste Management, they're entitled to that pay. You asked me last week, I was for universal. It's the most popular decision. It's the cheapest for everybody who's involved. I was all for universal one time a week. But you know, it just so happens, it's funny that Senior Resource Association came in today, and I had an elderly gentleman who emailed me. And he said, Bob, I make one bag of garbage every 3 or 4 weeks. So should that gentleman, if I make a universal option, he's got to pay $20 a month for that bag. And again, $20, I'm blessed, and $20 is not going to make or break me. But there's a lot of people out there that it will. There's people that are choosing right now between medicine and now you're putting garbage down there. I mean, it's really hurtful. And what I'm thinking about is, you know, I like old movies, so I watched the Rob Reiner movie, you know, A Few Good Men. And when they were convicted at the end for conduct unbecoming, and Corporal Downey was like, why, Harold, why? And he said, we were supposed to protect the ones who can't protect themselves. And that's who I have to stand up for, is those seniors who can't. And that's why I'm leaning towards subscription. The other thing is, if there is an inkling to go universal on this, and I see the thing, I think it needs to be rebid, because Sebastian then is known as a universal mandatory pickup, and I think more people would be in. I mentioned at the workshop the other night, the other one I would like is how can we, if we can find somebody to bridge us to when the counties and Fellsmere garbage is up, September of 2025, and we work together. And we don't agree with the county all the time, but there is strength in numbers, and we could be together and going out for a bid, which might be cheaper for everybody. We might agree on mandatory pickup the entire county, or we may not. We might choose subscription. But I have to err on, and again, the popular one is mandatory one time a week because we'll get the cheapest rate. But I can't support that because I have to look out for the elderly who are struggling. And $20 is a lot of money. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Dixon.
I just want to speak on, I mean, we have the strength in numbers comment, but PSL's 111 is still $5 roughly more when you take away that $10 dump fee than we're being offered. And Port St. Lucie's bigger than us. Snowbirds would save $69 roughly if they're on subscription service and say live here 6 months a year. But full-time residents, and we have the numbers, about 70% of our residents are subscribing, would be paying $100 more to save people who have 2 houses $69 a year. So that's something that I'm considering also in my thoughts. Yeah, that's all I have for right now. Just putting those numbers out there.
All right, thank you. Mr. Nunn.
Yeah, a couple things. The comment about the landfill convenience centers, that was actually the comment of the solid waste director that was here Wednesday night, that said their centers are worked to the hilt. They're nearing capacity, they're overworked as it is. So it wasn't us assuming or somebody assuming. The solid waste director for Indian River County made that comment standing here at the podium. You know, people talk about things going up and they can't understand how this could go up so much, and I just remind people this was a 10-year contract. Has anything else went up in 10 years? I guarantee it has. Things have went up a lot in 10 years. If we removed 25% of the survey voters that didn't understand the word universal or didn't ask the question and then change their vote, we would still have an overwhelming number choosing universal. Now, people ask me about, well, what about those on fixed incomes? Well, there's 2 ways to look at this. I had an old lady that lived down the street that had the ADA accessibility, that had the waste management go to her door and pick up her garbage can. That lady's on a fixed income. If she has universal service, she's only paying $20 a month instead of $27 a month. So I'm saving that fixed income person by having universal. I'm saving her money, not costing her more money. So there's possible that I'm going to save some of the fixed income people money by going universal over going subscription. Now, I went over this, we make our decisions based on percentages, and we get elected by how many people vote for us and what the percentages is, and it's the larger number that gets us elected, not the smaller number. And so then you ask yourself, if you're going to make a decision like this, do you make it for the good of all the people, or do you make it for the small angry crowd that doesn't want it? Well, if you're affecting them financially, you have to consider it. But then I was reminded today that every decision we make financially affects somebody negatively. Every decision. If we raise taxes 5%, it affects somebody negatively. If we do anything we do affects somebody negatively. So I can't make a decision based on the negativity. And I don't mean that as to be rude. I'm just saying I can't make it because it might affect somebody negatively. I just feel that if we have a 70% subscriber rate, it just makes sense to reward the people that are paying for it. And I know that means other people feeling like they're being punished and taxed, and that's a tough pill to swallow. So I'll hold off on what my decision is, because I don't know that I still have a decision on which direction I want to go. But let's see what Mr. Dodd has to say.
Mr. Dodd, you're up.
Oh, thanks. I can tell you just how many times I've wavered back and forth. I agree with Councilmember McPartland. I get phone calls, and I think that's a great point. Maybe I should do this. And I get another phone call. That's a great point. Maybe I should do this. And then I recognize the fact that I'm being very undecisive, and I don't like that. I can thoroughly understand the reason why people want a subscription service. I can completely understand why they want the freedom to make the choice themselves as to whether they pay Waste Management to pick their trash up or not. And I can understand the people who have I talked to a lady that spent less than $1,000 a month Social Security. That's all she gets. Now, I don't know about the rest of the people in this room, but I wouldn't want to live on $1,000 a month. And $20 is a big deal to her. $233, which is what we will tell her she has to pay if we go universal, is a big deal to her, a really big deal to her. And so, like Councilmember McPartland said, is, I think about that subset of our population and what we might potentially be doing to that subset of our population. I'm not a person who likes mandates, first of all. I'm not politically a person who likes mandates. I don't think government should mandate anything, although they're beginning to mandate a lot. I think that's something that we in this city are nonpartisan. We're non-big government. We want the local government to control, and therefore we should act like that. And so I'm not a mandate person. I don't believe in mandates. But I also can understand the point that Councilmember Nunn just made about the fact that we're saving these 9,000 people who pay for this. And oh, by the way, only about 400 people do the vacation, if I understand the numbers right, do the vacation stays, which would be the way a snowbird would turn it off when they're not going to be in Sebastian. And there's only about 400 people that do that right now every year. So it's not like there's a gigantic number of snowbirds that are not paying when they're not here. There's only, out of the 12,400 residents, roughly 400 do that on an annualized basis now. So there's not a ton of those. And I will tell you right now, I'm not 100% sure how I would vote when she calls my name. It's probably when I'll make that decision. It's kind of like the way I buy a piece of meat in a grocery store. I look at the counter and look at the counter and look at the counter and grab something and go. But I'm concerned about the people who we're really going to financially impact them. I'm less concerned about the people who I know can afford to pay the $19 a month and want to be subscription just because they don't want somebody to tell them what to do. I'm less concerned about that than I am about the people who truly are economically challenged and can't afford to pay this. I mean, I even, my little notes I've made this afternoon, I even made a note about the possibility of the city establishing some type of grant program to help those people pay for this service. Maybe we open it up in October of each year, and if you can truly prove financial need, we provide a grant to pay for the waste service. Now, the problem with that is that Mr. Carlisle has to administer that, and we have to figure out a way to do that. But I don't know in my own mind how many people would apply for that, but I don't think it would be 10,000 people, because I don't think we'd give it to 10,000 people, first of all. So that's something. And also, one of my notes is that the city needs to assume the responsibility for customer service on this. We need to expand our our citizens helpline, make it a full-time effort. When people have a problem with waste management, they call our citizens helpline. The person on the end who is full-time dedicated to that has access to the appropriate waste management information. If you call and say my trash is not picked up and they go to waste management system and they see the truck drive by your house and there's no can there, then they can take that picture and send it back to you and say it wasn't picked up because you didn't put it out. Or they can take that picture and say it was picked up, but here's the picture of the truck, putting it in the truck, okay? Or they can agree it wasn't picked up and we're gonna work with waste management. So there are issues related to this that don't tie just to this decision that we have to do. And they're financial issues, and they're things that the council needs to consider if they choose to go with the universal service. And I'm almost back in where I was the other day. I want to thank Andy for the survey, but I'm still not 100% sure I truly know enough to make this decision. And I go back to the questions I just heard. I heard the question about why is a franchise fee? I think back at other bills, and I really don't know. I'd have to look because I don't get anything printed anymore. I do, everything goes to my bank. I don't know if the franchise fee is delineated as a separate line item on things like your phone bills and stuff like that. I really don't know. But the franchise fee is normally paid by the franchisee, not the franchisor. Okay, so the franchise would normally be paid. So what Waste Management has done in this proposal is remove the franchise fee from their from the amount of the proposal. So, that basically you have to add 6% on top of this, and that's the actual dollar amount that you're dealing with, is that 6%. Situation like this, I don't know. I mean, I think the council at some point in time can talk about that franchise fee and what can be done with it. But I do know that if the city expands to the customer service realm where they manage customer service, it's going to take money, and the franchise fee would pay for that. That's the kind of stuff that a franchise fee will pay for, it's that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily to pad our general revenues. We're not trying to hide money anyplace. I don't think we can hide money. Why did we wait so long? I've asked that question. I personally believe that we probably should have started this a while ago. And we waited until it was probably too late to do it. That's water under the bridge. I don't know if we can fix that or not. It's too late. I can't go back in time. If I could write a great science fiction novel, if I could really do that. But it's not really a 300% increase. I mean, if you look at it, the difference between $14.40 and $19.40 is $5. That's 50%. Okay, the difference between 27 and 14 is 100%, roughly. So there's no 300% increase anywhere in here.
Hang on.
No,
Mr. Dodd, I think they're referring to the monthly cost of the equal service, and that will be 300%.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so there is a 300% increase between the $42 one and that. That's okay. The difference between universal and which is mandatory, and the snowbird thing I've talked about. So I tend to agree with Councilmember McCartland in an awful lot of the statements he made. So it's going to be interesting when it's time for me to vote.
All right, very good. Mr. Carlisle, the question came up about the franchise fees. Can you or Waste Management cover that a little bit more? I know Ed talked about it, but...
Yeah, so the current contract As part of their cost proposal, the franchise fee is included in their cost of services. And as Councilmember Dodd said, they chose, in this contract, it was supposed to be included as a cost of services. They chose to put a note at the bottom of there, this didn't include franchise fees. So that's one of the decisions we have to make, is are we going to apply that franchise fee on top of the fee? It's currently already in the fee, so it's a cost of them doing business. They have chose to take that out of the bid document and put it as a footnote that their fees do not cover the franchise fee. So but the bid always included it as their cost of doing business, as Councilmember Dodd said.
All right, very good. So there's a couple more questions. I've had a lot of phone calls the last couple of days, emails, and in the waste management contract, we talk about seasonal on-hold services. I'd like to know, and a lot of our constituents like to know, how long is that hold for? Some said it's like 30 days. Is it 30 days, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months? They can put it on hold?
I think as long as they need to, as long as they want to.
Oh, they can, because I was told by some that they would only do it for 30 days or something. It's up to the customer. So they can put that in. They're not going to get charged while it's on hold. On the subscription service. Okay. So they won't get charged when they're out of town or if they're on the subscription service. All right. Very good. We've had meetings on this. I've been having a lot of phone calls. I am not one of those people under this circumstance. I believe that every homeowner should have the option to decide whether or not they want garbage pickup or not. And that's just my belief. So I believe they should have the option. If they don't want subscription, then they can take it to the dump. But I'm not in favor right now of mandating anything for this garbage pickup. Everyone should be able to make their own decision at their household as to whether or not this will work for them or not. So, and that's where I'm at. Mr. Nunn, you got one more thing?
I do have one more thing. Just something to think about in the franchise fees that I was pondering in my head while I'm sitting here is, you know, everybody always talks about that renter that doesn't pay any money towards city taxes. A franchise fee on their garbage is actually a way for them to pay 6% of that garbage that actually goes to the general fund because it goes to the waste management and waste management pays that back to us. So a franchise fee that is actually paid by every citizen that has garbage, whether you're a homeowner or a rental property. So it's actually a way to contribute to the general fund from every citizen that has trash. Just something to think about.
All right. So yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I had so many things written down, I didn't see everything I had. I just wanted to bring about that it's been brought up a few times, Sebastian is known as a subscription service. The one plus of potentially doing universal is it would improve our chances for better bids in the future. I know we heard that earlier tonight. I had that written down also. And I have too had some elderly senior citizens. One walked up to me after the workshop the other day and he said, you know, I only have one bag of trash. And, you know, I'm on a fixed income. And he's like, but I have no means of taking my trash to the dump. So he wanted the lower rate, the universal, because it helped him out. Some people just may not have the means of getting it there. And we heard from the gentleman the other day, and I've heard from Waste Management too, with them having the cameras on the trucks, that there's a big problem of people who are not paying for their garbage. They're putting it in their recycling containers, and that's wreaking havoc on all of that. So just some more information to put out there.
All right, so that's it? Yeah, so just for information purposes, in the contract, there's what Waste Management has is a backdoor service. So you have residents that cannot physically take their trash down. They have it in the contract where they would do it. Obviously, there's some steps that you have to take in order to get that service, like getting a note from your doctor and that type of stuff, and presenting it to Waste Management so that they can do the backdoor service for those seniors, or not just seniors, but anyone, disabled people, whatever, that cannot go and move their garbage cans like that. So Waste Management does have that service included. I want to really thank everybody that came out Monday at 1 o'clock, Monday at 5 o'clock, and everybody that participated here tonight. because this is so important for us to have information from our public so that we can make a better decision about what our citizens want. So I really want to thank everyone for coming out, giving their input and everything else. Mr. Dodd.
Well, when Councilmember Dixon said that, it brought up something. I had a lady call me and said, I really can't afford $27 a month, but I can afford $20 if I have to pay it. But please don't take away my yard waste delivery. I can't, well, she said I'm old, I'm 80, and I'm starting to say, please don't say that because I'm getting near there. But, but she said, I have no way to get yard waste. And if you take away the yard waste piece, you're really impacting me when you do that. And that, I think that's one reason that universal sounds appealing to me is because of the yard waste stuff.
Yeah, but the subscription proposal has yard waste as well.
Yeah, well, she was talking about the difference between 27 and 19.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, very good. So we've had our discussion. Public input is closed, ma'am, sorry. We've had our discussion, so I will entertain a motion if we have one.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I would like to say is if we want a mandate, I think we got to decide, you want to do universal, you want to do subscription.
Right.
I think if we're going to go universal and make it a mandate, I think it should be rebid that Sebastian is mandating garbage pickup and put it out there. And I think we'll get the best price.
Yeah, I don't know, but we got to get a motion and a vote before we can proceed with that, I believe. So again, I'll entertain a motion. I'll go ahead and make a motion. So I will make a motion that we do the subscription service once a week on category 2.
I will second your motion for a vote.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that?
I'd like to have a little discussion on that.
Okay, absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I can support that, but I also want to know why we can't try and bridge this service to September 2025. What makes it impossible? And then go when the county is up. That's an impossibility.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Mr. Carlisle, I think I had a brief discussion with you about that possibility. What say you?
So I had a conversation with Waste Management about bridging it, and they would bridge it till December of this year, but it would be at the $42 subscription rate.
Per month?
Per month. I had countered with at least doing the subscription with the $19.75, and Ms. Perez said she would take that back to her superiors, but she didn't think that they would agree to it. I've not heard back, but I'm assuming no answer is my answer.
Right.
And to go with another contract to bridge it between now and December of 2025, you would have to, and I'll have the attorney to weigh in, you would have to reject this bid, and we'd have to find a contract to piggyback that would be willing to come in and piggyback for us to bridge that gap. Because we don't have time to bid another contract out between now and July to get a temporary contract in place. So you would have to reject the bid if they're not willing to extend it to the 2025 date. You would have to reject the bid, go back out to bid, and then in the meantime, while you're waiting to go out to bid in 2025, you would have to find some contractor out there that would come in and do it. And are they going to do a subscription, or are they going to just want to do universal? It would be hard. It would be a challenge for me to make that happen.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Mr. Nunn, do you have any other input on that legally for us?
No, sir, I don't. And right now, I know we have a motion, and it's been seconded, so I think that's what we have to address first, and if it doesn't pass, we'll entertain something else.
All right. Very good. All right. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Let's just call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Okay, Councilmember McPartlin.
No.
Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nunn?
No.
Councilmember Dixon?
No.
And Councilmember Dodd?
Can't abstain, so I have to say something.
Yes.
I'll vote no.
All right. Motion fails. Entertain another motion if anyone has one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a universal one pickup a week option.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember McPartlin?
No.
Mayor Jones?
No.
Vice Mayor Nunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
And Councilmember Dodd.
Mr. Attorney, can I ask a question before I vote?
Yes or no, but yes, sir.
Okay, what's next if this motion fails?
I'm sorry, say again, sir?
All right, what's next if this motion fails?
Take a break.
I guess you
I'm
can
asking
take a
a
break. I mean,
parliamentary
if this
decision.
motion fails, then so far, both subscription and universal have failed, so I don't know what's the next option. I guess you guys can take a break and do it again.
May I ask a
Okay.
question before you?
No.
No, it's Ed time. Go ahead, Ed.
Not of me.
No, may I ask
Not
a
of
question
me.
of the attorney? If this motion fails, we can open it back up for discussion between us and then possibly come back to another motion on one of the same items.
Okay, I'm going to vote no, and Mr. Mayor, I'd like to take a 10-minute recess.
All right, very good. I agree. We're in recess for 10 minutes.
Well, Mr. Mayor,
Oh.
if we can,
Oh, we got to
make
call
the call, it fails, the motion failed.
The motion
Yes,
fails.
it failed.
Okay.
We're on break for 10 minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in session. We're still on the waste management contract. Mr. Dodd.
Just a minute. Okay. You know, I just, 17% of the current subscription customers are non-payers.
Your mic on?
Yeah, it's on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, me.
Okay. So 17% of the subscription services today, of the 9,000 people that are currently on subscription service, are non-payers. That's almost 1,000, or over 1,000, maybe 2,300. I'm doing the math in my head, and I flunked third grade math, so I can't do that. But and so we have a situation where I think that's a telling tale. That number's going to go up if we raise the subscription service rate. And it's actually not going up from $14.42 to $27. It's going up from $14.42 to $27 plus the 6% franchise fee. So whatever 6% of $27.75 is, that's where the rate's actually going to, which is more like $28, $29 or something like that. That number is going to increase. We're going to have more people that are not paying for that service. Okay. That's concerning to me, and that, you know, that and the yard waste is the thing that makes me almost lean towards universal. It's not that I like the choice, but I hate to recognize that we have 17% of our current subscription customers who are non-payers. What are they doing? Are they putting their trash in other people's trash barrels, or, you know, what's being done with that? So that's kind of a concerning issue for me. I had a good conversation with Waste Management during the break, and it's very difficult for us to play any games with this. I mean, their proposal is based on an awful lot of assumptions. You know, what's going to happen when we raise the rate, and how many people are not going to pay anymore, and how many people are going to do this, and, you know, are we protected? If it's universal, we're protected. We know the revenue source is going to come in, so we can do the same work for less money. And the 1945 is also not the accurate number for the monthly cost on universal one pickup. You have to add the 6% to that as well. And I think that's a conversation that the council needs to have separate from this, is that 6% franchise fee. So I'm still not happy with the universal piece. I'm not happy with mandating people that we do things to people, but I think, quite frankly, it's beginning to make more sense to me than the subscription service. So I'll let other people talk.
If I could say something, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Two things. One, the CP&I, that is the possibility of cost price index going up every year, because people are concerned about the cost of the trash going up exponentially, and it's understandable. The cost price index is maxed at 3%, and that is a vote that the council will have to make each year on what percentage we want that to be, anywhere from 0 to 3%. I'm sure Waste Management will request what they think it should be, but then we will make the decision to do what we think is best. The second thing is the thought process, and it wasn't the first time I heard it tonight. I've heard it a few times that, well, Waste Management only wants you to go to universal because they make more money. Instead of 9,000 subscribers, they get 12,000. Well, I did the math real quick because I hadn't done it. 9,000 subscribers at the $27.74 rate is roughly $249,000. The universal rate at 12,000 homes at $19.45 is $233,000. So they actually make less money by doing more work, doing more houses with universal per month than they do. Why? Why would they want to do that? Well, they don't have to manage money anymore. Nobody can be a non-payer anymore. They get paid for every house every time. It's guaranteed money. There's no collections. There's none of that. And at a 17% rate of non-pay, it's an attractive thing not to have to worry about people paying their bills. So I just bring those up as factual information of why Waste Management's not trying to pull one over on us. If you look at, like Mr. Carlisle said, all the surrounding cities and what they're paying through Waste Management and other vendors, their prices are about the same as what we're paying. Some less. Well, actually, almost all of them are more than us. Indian River County, if you're looking at $10 a month, once again, in 25, they go out for bid on that again. So that $10 is probably going to be equal to what we're paying or higher by that time. So, and then Fellsmere and Indian River County will be that number unless they piggyback off whatever we come up with. I'll be quiet now and let y'all talk.
All right, thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am. You have anything more?
I do. I took a moment to look at our latest data from census.gov on the income in Sebastian. And it says the per capita income in the last 12 months is $35,616. That is very hard to live on. With roughly 50% of our community falling between 18 and 65, again from the census data, a lot of these people are working class Americans. We know we've had discussions about affordable housing. Our teachers, our firefighters, our paramedics, they're struggling, and many of them are falling right there about between $35,000 and $45,000. I cannot, in good faith, ask 70% of our citizens to pay more so that 30% who are currently not still have the choice to opt out when things are so tight right now for everybody. I know there's been many complaints of trucks, going by their house to, driveways a couple down and missing their house. Well, with Universal, they're going to stop at every single driveway on their route because there's no question on did this person pay this month or have they decided to subscribe or not, or the people left town and whatever. So this is just where my thought process is going with all this.
Thank you so much. Mr. McPartland, do you have anything?
I mean, I hope nobody thinks that I don't like Waste Management. I love Waste Management. When they came for the rate increase, I think I made the motion for the rate increase because I know how hard they work. I've never had a problem with Waste Management. No matter what the rate's going to be, I'm going to pay what it is. But I think we can I cannot mandate for some people. You're talking, it's only a couple of dollars here. It's only a couple dollars. One thing that people don't even talk about, affordable housing, great. But homeowners insurance. People can't afford homeowners insurance right now. Me, I've self-insured my house because I paid it off. I'm blessed. I haven't had homeowners in 12 years because it was so outlandish. So you got people, you're going to add in, oh, well, I'm saving you this money, and it's going to be only $120. Meanwhile, their homeowners went up $500, $1,000, and then roofs don't even last 35 years anymore. You got to get it replaced in 10 years or 15 years. Otherwise, the insurance companies aren't going to insure you. So when you're saying $10 here and $10 there are these seniors, again, I'm standing here for the people who, you got 17% who don't pay now. Maybe that's because they're trying to pay their homeowners and they can't pay the trash. Maybe they are. I think we need to have a separate discussion, maybe for seniors. Maybe we need to have a volunteer program because I have my phone blowing up. People are telling me, you're so stupid, you don't want to do Universal. Well, look, I'm looking out for the little guy. If there's a poor old lady or a poor old man that can't afford trash and they can't get it to the dump, give me a call. My numbers are all listed. I'll come and take it for you because I cannot imagine somebody having to do that. And we make it seem so easy. $20. Again, I'm just blessed to be in the position that I'm in. But I see the people who are struggling. And again, Senior Resource Association, we're all going to be going. They asked us to go out and deliver a meal this month, be a champion for seniors. When you go deliver a meal to that home, $20 a month, it might as well be $1 million to them. And they want to live on their own. So I got to stick with subscription. There's got to be a better way. And this is Sebastian, and we've been through tough times, and I think there's other options we haven't looked at. And I think maybe there can be a bridge somewhere. So, if you're ready to go, I'm ready to do subscription one time a week right now. But I think there's other options, and I think we should take the time. We should not be rushed, not be held over the barrel. And again, if you want to do mandatory pickup for everybody, I think this needs to be rebid. And so all the garbage companies know Sebastian wants universal pickup. Because again, the county wants us to go universal because we're kind of the barometer for when they go in 2025, if they're going to make it mandatory as opposed to subscription. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We're going to go ahead and entertain a motion, if anybody has a motion.
Mr. Mayor, if I can really quick, just a point of order. This time when you do entertain that motion, now Derek didn't mention it, just make sure as part of this motion, you also instruct staff to prepare our enacting franchise ordinance as well as the final contract to bring it back to you guys as part of your motion.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir. I'm not hearing anything. Yes,
I have a question. The franchise fees, so that money is being paid by the citizens and it goes to the city. Can we not create some kind of assistance program through those franchise fees for these seniors that are on fixed incomes? They don't have opportunities. They can't go to Walmart for a second job. Is there something that we can do? I mean, it's 6% of $200,000 is quite a bit of money to be able to supplement for those who could prove need.
Yeah, Mr. Carlisle?
I mean, it would be a policy decision by council. It's just managing that. When we manage I can tell you, it's not impossible. We would have to hire somebody. I'm going to tell you, my staff doesn't have the time to do it. Just like with the call center, we're going to have to use some of that money to offset the cost of the call center, which I do agree 100% we should take those calls. It's something that we can discuss. I know when we tried to do the COVID supplement to employees and that, it was a tremendous amount of work. And now you're going to, I mean, it can be done. I'm not saying it can't be done. It's just going to be a cost associated with it. And I don't know if we're going to use up all the money and cost to implement the program.
Right.
I don't have a clear answer for you if there's enough money there to do it. There's the potential to not charge the franchise fee and just charge franchise fee on commercial and not have the residentials pay the franchise fee. You could do that because they excluded it from the cost. And that way you still have some revenue coming in to offset the call center and that, but you're not passing that 6% on to the residents.
Right.
So that's an option for you all to discuss. I mean, all of this stuff is definitely something you all can do.
Because with the franchise fee on the universal once a week of $19.45, it comes out to $20.62 is the actual number with the 6% franchise fee.
But again, you can vote, you can make a motion not to apply the franchise fee to the residential. I would still keep it on commercial because we have to fund that.
May I ask you a question?
That would be a separate issue though, because as the city attorney said, you're going to bring that back.
Well, it's not part of their price.
It's not part of this price, so you're going to bring the franchise fee.
You would have to vote to
agreement back
implement
us.
it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Can you tell us what the annual cost of a $15 employee is for a full-time $15 employee? I mean, I know you got Mr.
Well,
Numbers
you know,
behind you.
so you're looking at $30,000 plus benefits, so you add another 40% to that, so you're talking 55,000.
Right, and I think before you said the franchise fees probably would be around 100 and.
So currently they run about 102,000. That's 5%.
So understood. So you're looking at roughly, you know, $45,000, $50,000 left over for grants. If you had one person that could handle the job and not counting anything else they had to do just for an employee.
Yeah, but he's talking about we can do away with the franchise fee. We can vote to do that for the residential.
Correct. I'm going to the idea of Councilmember Dixon from offering an ability from that franchise fee to establish a grant program.
Right.
The grant program and the call center, customer service call center, are not actually part of what we're deciding.
No, and you know, we're going to have to take some time because there's got to be policies set up to how you're going to implement that, if you implement it, because people are going to have to demonstrate their income. It'd almost be like someone applying for a loan, and so that would be a lot of personal information we would have to gather. But we have the ability. We would have the ability to do it. I just don't think it's something we need to discuss tonight.
So I need to ask the question about the franchise fee then. With it being not part of the price but on here, and right now the franchise fee would be paid by us, so Waste Management would be paying an extra 6% out of their pocket? Is that what would happen?
No,
How
we
would that
wouldn't
work?
add it on to the cost of the monthly service fee for the residential units, if y'all choose not to do that.
Does that mean we would not get that franchise fee
That's
for that
correct.
amount? Okay.
So I just did some quick math. With a modest amount, 40,000, say, is left over after paying an employee, and the cost with franchise fee for Universal once a week gives us 159 grants to like total cover.
Right.
Just putting that out there.
All right, so we're at that point where we need to make a motion or we need to get off here, so.
I'll make a motion. That'll be my first. If you can guide me through this.
Okay, we got you.
I make a motion to pass the universal once a week waste management service. What
And
am I missing?
authorize us to draft the enacting ordinances and agreements with Waste Management, implementing ordinance.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
thanks, sorry.
Is there a second?
I'll second that for a vote.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion on that from council? All right, that's universal, right? All right, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember McPartlin?
No.
Mayor Jones?
No.
Vice Mayor Nunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
And Councilmember Dodd?
Once again, thanks. Okay, guys, I have to just swallow everything and vote the way that I think is probably best for the 70% of the people who use waste management service, and for the 17% who don't pay for it, and I'm going to vote yes.
So we have 3-2 for universal?
Yes, the motion carries.
Okay. All right. Next item. Let's see, where am I at now, so?
12B, sir.
Excuse me?
12B.
12 Bravo.
All right, 12 Bravo. Approve a building time construction LLC negotiated work service. Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, we had provided a request for qualifications for a design build to put some security in offices in the building department, being funded out of the building department's reserve funds. And we had awarded a Building Time Construction LLC the contract to begin negotiations with the building department, go through design criteria, and work on some safety measures. I don't want to mention what all those safety measures are, but there were some pretty good changes to it that Wayne had worked with them on, speaker systems and, talk through glass and things of that nature. And they've worked for quite some time back and forth to design and build this program. So we'd like to ask you to approve the Building Time Construction's work services agreement with a guaranteed maximum price of $186,874.
All right. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this? We have anyone on Zoom for this particular item?
No one has raised their hand.
All right, council, questions?
Yeah, that's about $70,000 over the budget. Is that coming out of the building department's reserves?
It is. Like I said, the safety improvements that went in there, I mean, this was budgeted a long time ago, and just getting through the design build process, obviously prices have gone extremely higher, plus there were some additional safety measures that, and Wayne is here to discuss. Again, I don't want to mention what they are, but I think it's a good investment in the safety of our employees.
Okay.
Who is that? 1, 7.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval.
All right, so we have a motion
Second.
by Mr. Dodd, second by Mr. McPartlin. Any other discussion, council? All right, hearing none. Madam Clerk,
Mayor
call the roll.
Jones? Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Nunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
And Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Motion
All right. Move on to item 12C, award the invitation to bid number 23-04, drainage improvement to the stone crop. Mr. Carlisle.
Mr. Mayor, this has been a long time coming. This
Yes,
has
it
been
has.
on the books since former Vice Mayor Kincham was working in Public Works. They've been talking about this project. So it's been a number of years this project has been hanging out there. This is one of the major watersheds that feed out into the Sebastian River, St. Sebastian River. It's one of the projects, as you know, that backed up when we had the hurricane. This project originally was designed to have it piped, and then when I came to work here, revised it to armor flex along the sides of the canal. You ask, why would you do that? One, it would have if you would have piped that ditch, you would not have any water storage in the system. The water would have just went at high velocity into the St. Sebastian River without any opportunity to be clean, no water storage. The banks would be covered up. It would not provide for anything other than just complete discharge. And without any storage, if the river rose, it would be tidally influenced. So my recommendation was to do the armor flex, stabilize the bank, stop the banks from sloughing down. Lisa Frazier worked tirelessly on getting funding and getting this project finally designed. And Karen came in, our new city engineer, and they worked together to get us funding from FEMA under the hazard mitigation grant. And as the project was the final designs were being done, we were seeing these prices go up from what it was originally bid. And you know, concrete goes up every day, and this is mostly concrete. So we could not go back to the well again and get any additional funds. So, you know, we're going to fund the $2.1 million out of what's not covered by FEMA out of our DST funding. We'd ask that you approve the drainage improvements to stone crop to underwater engineering services.
Yeah, all right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Hearing none. Council, any questions of staff?
You referenced 2.1 million just a minute ago.
Yeah, I got the, I'll pull the
Our
total
budget's
up.
1,460. Where's the rest of those monies coming from? Are they coming out of our reserves, or where's that?
DST.
Yes?
DST.
DST. DST, which is money. I mean,
Yes.
it's all
Yeah.
money. You know, when you got cash, you got cash. You can spend it. When you don't, you don't. So that's where I was kind of confused by the numbers, the whole thing, and it might be beneficial, but our budget is the 1,472, and then the total cost is 2.23, and then it says or 2.94 for total phase 2 of project.
So
That's where I was kind of confused.
So the next number, we're buying the contact bridge. We're going to pay for that?
Is that the next item
the next
that's on the
item.
agenda? So
Yeah.
that the difference between those two is the next item that's on the agenda.
So we're
Right.
buying it, we're paying the upfront cost for the bridge
I'm
because
hearing
we
yes,
save
yes, yes.
we save the tax dollars, and we'll
Okay.
be buying the armor flex coating, so we save the sales tax on the armor flex coating when that comes.
So if the total cost is 2.23, or let's say 2.9, and the hazard grant is 1.17, how's it going to be 2.1 million to us?
That's the total cost of the project, the 2.9 million, and then you have to deduct the 2.1 is a contract to underground, and then we have the bridge. So the total project cost is a total of those two.
Okay, so we got,
Maybe he meant 1.1 million? Because that's what I see
so
on
if
the
I get,
sheet.
so if the total cost is 2.941, and we take out 1.117,
That leaves you with the 1,823.
that leaves with 1,824, not
Correct.
2.1.
Yeah,
If you look at the
1823.
agenda item,
1,823 for local match.
Right.
That's, when you said 2.1, you threw me off.
Yeah.
I didn't quote the right number, but it's a
Okay.
2.2 is to them,
Yeah,
and
so
then,
our actual cost for the city is 1.823.
Correct.
1.824 if you round it up a little bit.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. And that's gonna come out of our DST fund.
Correct.
And we have budgeted 1.4, so we're gonna be over on the DST fund by about $400,000 roughly.
Correct.
Okay. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, so our city, he just corrected me, our city cost is just a little over 1.9.
1.9, yeah. Well, that's what, okay, so 1.9, which is still gonna be about $450,000 over our budget. And we have room in the DST to do that without not doing other projects that we've got. I mean, we got, on our capital improvement projects, we have a lot of things coming out of DST. So if we take another $500,000 out for this, I'm not saying we don't do it, I'm just trying to understand it. If we take another $500,000 out for this, is there something on the capital improvement list out of the DST that we have to look at?
We have an estimated, after all these projects are done, without this 500,000 being added in, we had a $2.5 million surplus at the end of the year in DST. So we had the funds to cover it.
Okay, all right, so you're gonna pull out of DST reserves? All right. All right. Okay.
All right. Any other questions, Mr. Dodd?
No, I move approval.
All right. We have a motion. We have a second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I guess, well, this project, that was a long time in the works, and,
Yeah.
I guess, then, was this project also considered in, the stormwater master plan that we're waiting on? Or is this one left outside of that project?
It's included in the plan, because it was a project underway, so it's included in what that's gonna affect the overall stormwater system. And then one of the other things that was brought up by our city engineer based on the study is there's some other segments upstream of that she would like to add into the local mitigation strategy, which is how we get our FEMA money, to try to move those other projects along with some more FEMA grant money.
So this improvement that we're doing finally is not gonna change that plan?
No, because it was
negatively, or that plan need to be updated or anything?
No, this project was included in the study. They were given the information.
Okay.
All right. Very good. We've had discussion. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Vice Mayor Nunn,
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin,
Yes.
and Mayor Jones.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All right. Next, which goes along with this, item D, approve the sole source purchase of Context, Aeroflex, and Conspan Bridge. Mr. Carlisle.
So this is the purchase of that material. Again, the bridge itself is about $656,000. The hazard mitigations is going to use $492,000. This DST fund is going to fund about $164,000 for this bridge. And again, we won't be paying the sales tax on it. And the contract that was just approved has costs in there for the installation of the bridge.
And is this bridge going to go on the inside or the outside of the current one?
Right now, you got culverts.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Concha.
Yeah, this is a contact. This is the name of the bridge. It's a proprietary bridge. Contec is a company that builds the bridge, but it's going where there's culverts there now.
On Laconia.
No, this is down by the.
Yeah, it's Laconia.
It is Laconia, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
We're washed out.
All right.
We're washed out.
Yes, Laconia.
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, I have no more questions. Any other questions? Do we have a motion? I'm sorry.
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion, second by me. I will second. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Dixon,
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd,
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin,
Yes.
Mayor Jones,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Nunn.
Yes.
The motion carries. Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda is 12E, and we need to remove Resolution R23-03 from the table.
I move that we pull, Resolution 2303 from the table.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now we move on to the review and adopt resolution number R-23-03. City Council Charter Officer Evaluation Procedures. Mr. Anand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a resolution of the City of Sebastian, Indian River County, Florida, establishing procedures for chapter officers for goal setting, evaluation, wage adjustments, or other increases in compensation and renegotiations of employment agreement, repealing resolution number R21-04 in its entirety, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Council? Review. What page are we on? 285.
Now, the only thing I would say about that, and I have no problem with this resolution, is that the resolution is still set up for us to do this in a June timeframe each year. I know there's a bill pending in front of the legislature right now to kind of change the way that cities can do contract negotiations for reevaluations and upgrades. And the current bill limits that to 6 months prior to the election. Now, I'm being told that there's another bill that's being passed with a clause in it that does away with that, but I haven't seen any of that break through yet. So, as it stands right now, we're okay with the June-July cycle, but if in fact that does pass the legislature, we'll have to shift that back and do that sometime in the February-March timeframe in order to stay away from 6 months prior to the election if it passes. The feeling I'm getting from Florida League of Cities is right now that probably won't pass, but it's still there, and it's still the kind of thing that might just, I'm beating up on local governments, so kind of stuff, which is something they do a lot in Tallahassee. So just so everybody understands that. And we've already made an agreement that we're going to do a contract reevaluation during March for our current charter officers. And I think the next thing on the agenda is to discuss that. So this would not include that cycle. This would be what would take place starting in 2023, I believe. Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so I'm comfortable with it as well. All of us had an opportunity to have input on this, and I'm comfortable with the document that we have before us. So, Mr. Anand?
I was just going to say, I know that Councilmember Dodd and I had conversations about that bill. I don't see my conversations with you, how it's going to apply to us specifically in these cases. How I read it, it's not going to apply, but we'll see in the future. But right now, how it's written right now, it definitely won't apply. But I just didn't see when I read the language when I met with Mr. Dodd, I didn't think it's going to impact us with this resolution going forward.
All right, very good, sir. Any other comments?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I would, I like what's going on here, but one thing I would like to see, and this is from some boards I'm on, the executive directors, each and every year, they set their own goals and what they present to the board, which would be us. This is what my plan is doing in the next year. And then it jives with the following year when you're doing the evaluation. You look at the previous years, what goals they had set, and then did you meet the target? Did you not meet the target? Did something get in the way that you were not able to achieve it? You achieved, 60% or something along those lines. Because I think that's more of I think each of the charter officers should be setting a goal. This is what I want to see for the next year. And then the following year, you can actually evaluate them on that.
I think our strategic plan, if assuming, and that's one of the things I'm going to talk about in my matters, we need to move judiciously through that process. And it seems to me that the strategic plan, with its objectives and tasks that come after the strategic plan, high-level stuff, would primarily become the goals for the city manager, implementation of that plan. And I agree with you 100%. What he should do, and I agree with that, is take that strategic plan and come back and say, this is what I can do within the next 12 months of these strategic objectives. Based on staffing, based on budgets, based on so forth, and then let the council use that as a way to judge performance. Let the plan drive what the city manager feels he can accomplish, and then let the council use that as a driving force.
Right, I understand that with the city manager, but I mean all of the charter officers.
Okay, yeah.
Like, especially for like Jeanette in the past, I know one was computerizing all the paper, getting it off paper, and getting it digitized, as well as with Mr. Anand, when he first came on, one of his big thing was revamping all of the magistrate kind of things and getting us up to date. So I don't just want it to be specific for the city manager, but each charter officer, what do they see in their office that they can accomplish in the next year?
So would you like to see something in here that
I think where it
accomplishes
says, you know, where the charter officer goal setting, you know, where we sit down with them about where they want to be, I would like to see that they present something to me, because I'm just thinking for one of the Children's Services Councils I'm on the executive committee, and we sit with the executive director, and he gives us what his goals are for the next year. And then, like I'm saying, is then when we're rating him on the past year, we sit down with what he said before and where they think they're at.
Okay. Interesting. Mr. Nunn.
I do have one concern with this resolution, and that is section 4, where it says it's been added that, however, if the charter officer chooses not to renegotiate, the city council at their discretion can renegotiate the charter officer employment agreements. My only concern with that is that goes against what the existing contracts say. That's not an option in the existing contracts. It's if they want to renegotiate it 1 month before the 3 years expires. Otherwise, it continues in force for 3 additional years. I have a concern with us creating an ordinance that goes against a charter officer's contract.
That's the reason that we talked about redoing the contracts this month.
Well, understood, but redoing the contracts also violates that contract.
Yeah, well.
I mean, that's not an option that we've had.
I think the council can vote to redo those contracts. I don't see legally where that would be an issue. Mr. Anand?
Currently, the resolution, how it's written right now, it dovetails with the current contracts. My understanding was that the council wanted to renegotiate the contract, and this resolution would be a reflection of the new contracts. That's what I thought we were doing.
Yeah. So renegotiating this contract doesn't violate the existing contracts? Redoing this resolution, add that in, doesn't violate the existing contracts?
The resolution is the policy that you guys are setting at this point, that the council is setting at this point. And I was under the impression that once you set this resolution, your contracts would be implemented based on this resolution, your new contracts.
New contracts.
Yeah.
I have no argument with new contracts. I'm talking about the 3 existing contracts that we have in place now. How does that affect? How does us creating a resolution today affect a contract in force?
Currently, right now, this resolution would be, the current resolution would be consistent with the contracts. Again, I don't know what the desire of the council is. If you're saying that this resolution would be conflict with my contract, you guys direct what you want done. So would it be conflictive with it? Maybe, but the issue is, I thought the intent was to pass this resolution and then change the future contracts to be reflective. Otherwise, what are you going to do? You're going to pass the contract inconsistent with the resolution? I mean, it's either you put the egg before the chicken or the chicken before the egg.
Well, my challenge is, and why I'm asking the question is, if we're creating a resolution that is in conflict with existing contracts, then how does that affect that contract? Does that nullify that existing contract and it becomes enforced under this new contract? I mean, this new resolution?
No.
I mean, if there's no language in the existing resolution, not this one, because this has been added, in the existing resolution and the existing contracts that offers the ability for a charter officer to request that their contracts renegotiated, and there's not any language in that ordinance the resolution or the contract that gives the city council an option to renegotiate a contract, the only other option they have is to terminate a charter officer, because there's no option to renegotiate that contract in the contract for our point of view. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's factual. There's nothing in the existing contracts that says city council can renegotiate anytime they want to. And in the existing resolution, there's nothing that says the city can renegotiate that contract when they want to.
At this point, it's the pleasure of the council. If you want to negotiate the contracts and come back with your resolutions,
I'm
That's
asking for
fine.
your, I'm
The
asking for your
intent-
legal opinion.
And I'm telling you, the question was, Mr. Vice Mayor, is this resolution going to be consistent with all the contracts? I can only speak for mine. I'm not sure with the managers, and I think that the city clerk would not be conflicted with hers. Might be
well-
with mine. You know, moving forward anyways. I believe it might be. I'm not sure the manager can speak for himself. Once again, the direction that we were given when I met with everyone is that you want to have a future contract that's going to be consistent with the resolution. If you guys want to continue, negotiate the contract, and then with the terms without the resolution, then you're still going to have resolutions inconsistent with the contract. So you're going to have to set policies. And if you're going to set the policy that you want to have this in your contract, I think you're within your means to set that policy right now. Or alternatively, renegotiate, and then you have an inconsistent resolution, which then you're in the same situation.
Okay.
So how long has it been? We're talking about 3 years, so if what the vice mayor is talking about is like, we would never be able to renegotiate anything, so basically.
Correct.
Yes,
Right.
that's right.
Correct, that's exactly
Mhm.
correct.
It's my understanding that these contracts are open-ended. They're, like, we agree, or the city agreed, I wasn't here yet. They agreed, and unless we terminate them or they quit, that is the contract. They could be here 20 years.
And that's why this language is in this new proposal.
So how does this new language and this new proposal affect existing charter officers?
We've already, all right, here's the thing. We've already voted, and you voted in favor of this. We've already voted that we're going to renegotiate all charter officer contracts between now and hopefully between now and the end of March. Okay, we all have evaluation forms. We agreed, you voted for this.
Have we taken a vote on this resolution?
It's my time, I'm gonna reclaim
We
it.
have not taken a resolution. Point of order.
I'm reclaiming my time.
Hang on.
Point of order, we have not taken a vote on this resolution.
Order.
We agreed,
Mr. Dodd.
this council agreed 2 meetings ago. And everybody, all 5 of us, it was a 5-0 vote. We agreed 2 meetings ago that we were gonna evaluate the charter officers. We directed the HR director to provide us evaluation forms. We have the evaluation forms, I hope. And I got mine last Wednesday. I've done one. I'm in the process of doing the other. It's too late for that to be done tonight, so we need to do that at the next council meeting. And then as a result of that evaluation, the city, and we also agreed, all at a 5-0 vote, that the mayor would then renegotiate the contracts with all of the charter officers. The city attorney's contract renegotiation will take place when the new city attorney is hired. The objective of that, at that time, was, first of all, to solve the issue. We removed the city charter officers from the salary study pay increase in anticipation of doing the reevaluation of the contracts in order to get them back into that increase. So, I mean, so what we did is we removed them from that, waiting for the evaluation. That was once again a 5-0 vote to remove them from that. And what we decided at that time was that we would do the reevaluation of the contracts, and then I will propose, and we can decide if it's agreed to, that the base salary of the new contracts becomes what the salary survey set for the city manager and what the salary survey set for the clerk. In addition to that, what we decided that we wanted to do, and I believe that was once again unanimous, is that we were going to provide the charter officers a pay increase based on their evaluations. We wanted to do that separate from, right now they get, if the union gets 5%, they get 5%. Well, we may want to give Mr. Carlisle 8% because we think he's doing such a great job. And the council needs the freedom to evaluate him and to provide him a merit increase based on his performance, individual performance. Okay, same thing with the clerk, same thing with the attorney. So that process is also encoded into this resolution, is that we would do that. So we do the evaluation, redo the contract. The city council then proposes individually, each council member, what they believe the annual increase should be based on the evaluation. And then we have to come up to some way to decide whether it's 5%, 4%, 10%, or whatever. Okay, so we all agreed on that. The only way we can reopen contracts today is to fire them. I agree with that 100%. I don't want to fire Mr. Carlisle to re-talk about his contract. I think that's ridiculous to do that. So the reason that this language was put in here is that when the new contract is negotiated, that we have an opportunity then to include in the contract the fact that this language is valid. I personally don't see where we have an issue because, I mean, we have to be good faith negotiators. I'm not opposed or in any way, shape, or form trying to be detrimental to these guys. We have to be good faith negotiators. I don't think the mayor's going to be an unfaithful negotiator, and I don't think Mr. Carlisle is going to be, and I don't think the city clerk's going to be. So what we need to do is to get back on cycle with what we talked about doing 2 meetings ago or 3 meetings ago now. And I think this does that. It's a nuance. If either one of our charter officers wants to legally challenge our ability to do this, let them do that. And then that will be a decision point that we have to make. It's that simple. Okay?
All right, thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Nunn?
I have some things here.
Yes,
First
sir.
of all, we did not postpone or take the salary adjustments for our charter officers away to go for the evaluation. We took them away with the specific idea that they would get theirs when the second union negotiation was finalized. Very clearly, that was what we voted on, was to postpone their salary adjustments from the salary survey until the union negotiation was completed. It had nothing to do with the evaluations. It had specifically to do with the salary negotiation for the union. Second, we haven't voted on this resolution yet, so it's not legal. We have voted on language and agreed that we would change things. But after doing research and reading all of the contracts, I see an issue. I see an issue and I see a problem there. I have an issue with creating a resolution that goes against an existing contract for our charter officers. Whether it's 1 or 3, it doesn't matter. They all deserve to be protected by their contract that they have. If they want to bring it up for renegotiation, they clearly have that ability to do so. This resolution changes that, and that's my concern.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of Resolution 2303.
We have a motion on 2303. Do we have a second?
I second that for discussion.
Yes, all right.
Because
so
maybe I get a little confused or something here. I thought we were doing this so we could redo the contract so everybody kind of looks the same. I mean, but I'm hearing, does the vice mayor think that we're doing something wrong here? Mm-hmm. Because I think, I got one remedy that we potentially, which of course I don't want to do, is relieve each charter officer of their contract and set the mayor to go redo them. I mean, is that what we're looking for? Because I thought Mr. Dodd was pretty clear, and I thought we're well within our right, and listening to Mr. Anand, that we're following the proper procedure.
right, absolutely. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Madam Clerk, call the vote.
Mayor Jones?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Nunn?
No.
Councilmember Dixon?
No.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
And Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
Okay. That
All
motion
right.
carries.
Where are we at? There, negotiations.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we table the negotiation of charter officers' employment agreements until our next meeting so that we can finalize our evaluation forms.
All right, so you want to continue it to the next meeting?
Yes.
All right. I will second that. Any discussion on that?
I'm trying to think here, because I saw the forms. So we'll grade the forms, and then the next meeting, then we give the mayor direction as to what we want to see?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Nunn?
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon?
Yes.
Councilmember Dodd?
Yes.
Councilmember McPartlin?
Yes.
And Mayor Jones?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right. Next thing on our agenda, Council, is the interview of prospective candidates. I think, Mr. Anand, can you start us off with that, please?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. We have before us 2 candidates. You guys have the packets already in your packets, both the resumes as well as the cover letter, other information they want to submit, along with a report from HR. She did a level 1 background check. Both candidates are here. We got Mr. Rodney Edwards, who is present in the chambers today, and we got Mr. Andrew Mai. I suggest respectfully we take them alphabetical order, take 20, 30 minutes to interview them. Start with Mr. Edwards first, and then Mr. Mai has agreed to step outside. Of course, it's a public meeting. He agreed to do it voluntarily. Step outside, giving the council the opportunity, no unfair advantage to the candidate, for you guys to ask any questions you want of Mr. Edwards. And then once that's done, Mr. Edwards will step outside and bring in Mr. Mai. I'll bring in Mr. Mai, and you guys can ask him questions. And when that's done, bring them all in, and you guys can decide if you want to select one of those two or what council wants to do at that point.
All right, very good. Mr. Mike, can you go ahead and step out?
Can I make a suggestion that
Yeah.
you go into one of the offices, if Cindy could take him back to one of the conference
Okay.
rooms,
Very
just so
good.
he's comfortable, he's not sitting outside in that
Yeah.
humid and
Yeah,
mosquitoes.
that's perfect. Thank you.
Well, the TV and all, everything's on.
I didn't
out
mean
there.
outside. I meant out
No,
there.
no,
being
you
treated
mean
like
Everything's
that.
on out there, Manny, so I would rather her go, Cindy take him to an office where he can be comfortable.
Mr. Edwards, you can come on up. All right, so you can make an opening statement to us, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have some questions. I know I have a lot of questions. I'm pretty sure other council members have questions as well, so you can open up, give us a brief statement.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Rodney Edwards. I'm currently the Deputy City Attorney for the City of Palm Bay. I was born and raised here in Brevard County. I graduated from Melbourne High School, and after graduating from Melbourne High School, I entered the United States Marine Corps. I went to school. I was transferred out to California. I went to college, Cal State LA and University of Phoenix. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I came back home to Florida in 2006 to go to Florida A&M College of Law, and I recently graduated from Florida Institute of Technology with a master's degree in public administration. Currently, in my duties, I've been at the city for about 6 years. My current duties, I assist the city attorney in providing professional legal services to the city council, city manager, various department heads. I also cover planning and zoning, code enforcement, our BCRA, and 2 other boards. And so basically my responsibility now is working with growth management, fire department, code enforcement, and our growth. And we do our home program in that as well. I also serve as the civil litigation person for the city. So I handle all tort litigation for the city, car accidents, slip and falls, and things of that nature. All of those are first chair responsibilities. I also cover foreclosure cases, probate, and some of the bankruptcy issues that the city may face at some times. I'm thankful to have the opportunity to appear before you, to be considered as your interim city attorney and hopefully your permanent city attorney. I think that my experience, especially coming from Palm Bay, which is another GDC community, I think it would benefit this council as well. And I'll take any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm probably going to ask you some questions that you've already listed some information on. I just want to make sure I'm clear that I ask the same questions to both of the candidates here tonight, all right? So what experience do you have in dealing with the legislative body, i.e. city council, county commission, or whatever?
As I stated, I've been at the city now for about 6 years. And so as a part of that process, we've had to work with several quasi-judicial bodies, code boards, planning and zoning, also appearing to assist with covering city council meetings when the city attorney is away. And so I've had a good bit of experience dealing with all of those, because most of the stuff that I actually deal with when it comes to planning and zoning and code will then come before the council. And I think in Palm Bay, we have a very extensive agenda that's highly populated with quasi-judicial matters, planning and zoning things.
All right. What personal experience do you have pertaining to land use, city government, sunshine, ethics, public records? Do you have experience in that?
Yes. So one of the portions of our job as a deputy city attorney is that I'm responsible for each one of those boards that I represent. So I have to give them their sunshine training, public records training, their ethics training, and then of course working with planning and zoning and code enforcement and those other avenues. We're constantly dealing with land use issues. Like I stated to you, Palm Bay is a GDC community, so when the bankruptcy came, it was a lot of things that were left incomplete. And so now as a city, we're spending a lot of time changing zoning, trying to get the most impact out of the land that we have. At the present moment, we're about 100 square miles in land, and it's only about 60% built out. So there's a lot of work that we do with land use.
All right. Have you ever worked on an annexation agreement or ordinances?
Yes. So right now we're doing, worked on several ordinances as a part of the work we do with planning and zoning and with some of the issues trying to change some of the code for the city. Currently, we're working on a pretty large annexation. It's down in the Miko area. We're looking to, I think it's called Miko Park. They're going to try to bring that into the city of Palm Bay. And that's going to be like our furthest south annexation into the city. That's going to grow us. I think once we finish with that annexation, we should hit the 100 square mile area.
All right. Very good. Are you willing to be present during council meetings and other board meetings?
Absolutely.
All right. Are you board certified?
I will be taking my board certification on May 12th.
All right, because that's going to be the next question. If you wasn't, were you planning on becoming board certified? And you've answered that.
I pray to God, May 12th.
All right, thank you, sir. Why do you feel you're better qualified or the more qualified candidate to be our interim attorney?
I think that I'm more qualified based on the fact that I'm coming from a city that is very similar to Sebastian. It's a lot larger. There are a lot more issues that are going on, but I understand some of the issues that you face with the lagoon, trying to annex property in, and things of that nature, because we experience those same things in the city of Palm Bay. Although the city of Palm Bay is the largest city in Brevard County, we're probably still the least developed city in Brevard County because we're more of a bedroom community and we have very little commercial business. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to attack with some of our zoning issues and go from more of a multifamily to a mixed-use community to try to bring commercial and residential in at the same time and not just have a bunch of rooftops all over the place.
All right, so currently you're in Palm Bay. You're one of the attorneys there, right?
Correct.
Why do you want to be our interim city attorney?
I ran for judge this past election period, and so going through that process, I felt that it was time for me to advance my career. And so I think that coming from Palm Bay with the issues and the things that we deal with, I think that by coming to Sebastian, it's pretty much similar to my Palm Bay experience, but it allows me to start off and not be as overwhelmed if I would have gone to Melbourne to apply. And so I think that this is a good fit for me where I am now, so that I can, go through 5 or 10 years or however long you guys have me, and get my sea legs up under me.
All right, thank you, sir. I don't have any more, Vice Mayor.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, that's fine. Doesn't matter.
All right. So just a couple of questions. Thank you for your service, first of all. That's exceptional. A lot of the questions Mayor Jones has asked or helped. So obviously you ran for election. Do you plan on running for election again in '24?
I don't plan on running for election in '24. When you run for judge, especially in Brevard County, it's a county-wide race. And so it's a 72-mile jurisdiction that you have to campaign for. And like when my city council runs for election, they may spend $5,000 or $6,000. But to run for judge, it's like $50,000 to $100,000. And so it's a very costly endeavor that I don't know you want to take on every 2 years. So at this point right now, I'm satisfied. I'm looking to hopefully settle down and stay here, hopefully. I don't live too far away from here. And I think that, meeting with everybody that I've met with, I have a pretty good rapport. So at this time, I'm not considering running for 2024 or 2026.
Okay. So you also have your own firm. How does that firm fit into your work schedule as it would be now?
With the city of Palm Bay?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, so basically when I was hired at the city of Palm Bay, I was hired initially as the assistant city attorney. And because that salary was capped at a certain range, the city attorney at that time gave me permission to keep my firm open, but I couldn't do any criminal defense. So he allowed me to do personal injury, they allowed me to do family cases, wills, probates, and things like that. But I think he kind of tricked me because although he said that I could keep the firm and I could do work, I never really had a lot of time to devote to, doing other work outside of the city of Palm Bay. So I don't have like a huge caseload or anything like that. I also do real estate as well, but I just do mostly sales or purchases for people that I know. So it's not like a full-time law practice or a full-time real estate business.
Understood. So obviously, there was a time period, and I'm judging from your resume, during a period while you worked there, there were some issues in Palm Bay that involved city attorney. I'm not sure who exactly because the news doesn't really talk about it. How do you feel? I don't mean fit into it because that's not what I'm saying. What is your thoughts on the situation that happened at Palm Bay?
You mean with the city attorney, or you're talking about
there was phones and gift cards and the whole thing. I read the news articles, but they were never specific about what it included, what went on with the fraud at the city of Palm Bay.
I mean, we never really were made completely and totally abreast of everything that transpired. I do know that there was a FBI investigation. We kind of did some internal investigations, but there was only, I think, 1 or 2 people that were actually, that have been indicted, right, and have been sentenced or plead. And then our city attorney, I think, I don't know, he's a very good guy. He gives me good recommendations. Matter of fact, he was a part of my application to become board certified. I think that the stress of the job may have gotten to him mentally. And we really, really hated to see him go. But he's bounced back. He's on his feet.
Good, good. So what do you feel your biggest strength is that you could bring to the city of Sebastian?
Like I said, I think my biggest strength is going to be my ability to hit the road running with little or no assistance or coaching or cultivating. I think that my work ethic also is a strength that I can bring to the city, because I know most councils want to be in constant touch with their charter officers. So I don't have a problem with that. I think from working with the firm, having my own firm, especially before coming to the city, I think some people say I made a mistake, because instead of giving clients just the office number, I also gave them my cell phone number. So, sometimes that caused issues, especially with family law cases, when, Saturday morning or Friday night, they're going to pick the kid up and mom or dad won't give the kid over. So they're calling me to say mom and dad won't give me the kid. So it's like, what can I do? It's like, I can't do anything for you. Courts are closed. But, just make a note. We'll go on to, we'll make a note for it. And then we'll bring, some action once we.
Yeah, bless you for family law, because that's a.
I know it's.
All right, I'm good, Mayor.
All right, thank you.
I just have one question. What type of impact will it be on your association with Palm Bay if you have to spend 10, 15 hours a week during the day working with staff in Sebastian on issues that come up?
So I've talked to my boss about that, and like I said, more than likely, I would try to do it as the firm, so that I could just bill outside of the city, so that I could do both of them at the same time simultaneously. Because if I can't do that, then it's going to be a little bit harder.
I'm really talking about work conflict. Okay, you got a job in Palm Bay, and they're probably working you 50 hours a week right now. So how does the work conflict step in?
No, that's okay. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm pretty flexible with the issues that I have, especially work related. The good thing about it is all of the boards that you guys have are complete opposite of the boards that I would have to do here. So like city council meeting is the first and third Thursdays. You guys are, I think, the second and fourth Wednesdays. Other things like that, I have vacation time that I could take off. And my boss is pretty understanding when it comes to, forwarding and moving on with your career. So I don't think that would be a problem for her.
All right, that's all.
All right, thank you. Ms. Dixon?
You guys answered a lot of the ones. I do have one, quite different. If we were to talk to your colleagues, what would they say about your character? Give me some words.
So I can give you an example of some of the awards that I've received, and those are peer reviewed. So I've been AV rated preeminent by Martindale-Hubbell for ethics in legal knowledge since 2017, and that's a review that comes every year, and that's something that your peers write and say, yes, I agree. I think he has a high ethical standard, and I think he has a very good grasp of the law. The other thing that other award that I've received is that I've been voted Florida Trends Legal Elite for non-profit and government law since 2021. So those are two peer-reviewed awards that you get that you can't actually write to get accepted. Someone has to nominate you, and they have to vote on you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. McPartland?
Good evening, Mr. Edwards.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
You've sat through this meeting to this point. You still want to apply for the interim job?
I'm good.
Okay.
It's just a little chilly in the back, but it feels a lot warmer up here, so I'm okay.
I mean, you have basically answered all my questions. I know you have the ability to multitask. Our meetings are separate. I was up in Palm Bay a few weeks ago for the meeting up there. Mm-hmm. I am a little hesitant. You're from Palm Bay. You and the mayor are former Marines, and then your current mayor is a former Marine.
Once a Marine, always a Marine.
I know. This and Palm Bay is all. I think that Mr. Medina trying to get you in here as a plant so Palm Bay can annex further down Babcock.
Yeah, we're coming. We're almost to Nico, so.
But I mean, you feel that you have the time, because again, you know, I multitask myself in many different kinds of jobs and boards. You have the time and available to fill this position?
Yes, I hope that it's not going to take too long to pick a permanent one. So I hope we're not 6 months down the road as an interim still. So hopefully I can do a good job for you.
Okay, and are you also interested in the full-time position for this?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But I'm again, thank you for your service, and I mean, you guys asked a lot of great questions. Mr. Jones, I thought maybe you rehearsed it with him or something. So, but I'm happy
I'm a lawyer,
with what I've
man.
seen.
What are you talking about?
I know.
All right, thank you, Mr. Edwards. Is there anything you want to say to us before we send you out?
I just want to thank you. Thank you for allowing me to appear before you. Thank Manny, city manager, for going through the applications, for meeting with us, and I just hope that I can serve you as both your interim and your full-time city attorney.
All right, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Can we have Cindy out there already?
Yeah, no, Cindy's right there.
Okay.
If I can, sir, we're at 8:41.
We need an extension?
9:30?
Yeah.
All right, we'll wait till 9.
Oh, Lord. We knew this was going to be a long meeting tonight anyway, so.
Roger that, sir. I think we'll be past 9:30 for sure.
I think my wife is probably starving right now because it's late.
Can somebody get a takeout order?
Yeah, get a takeout order. Oh, let's see, where do we have? Hang on, let me get this name right. Mr. Mai, welcome.
Good evening, thank you.
Can you give us a brief introduction?
Sure. My name is Andrew Mai. I'm with Fishback and Dominic. We're a local government law firm in Winter Park that has represented local governments for over 87 years. We represent cities like Winter Garden, Winter Park, Longwood, Belle Isle, DeBerry, all ranges and sizes. I personally would represent the city of Sebastian. I have been a city or county attorney for 13 years. That's not an assistant, but the actual city attorney or county attorney. I've been representing local government clients for over 20 years. I have represented cities such as Longboat Key, Cocoa Beach, Altamont Springs, Surfside, Homestead, Ball Harbor, many more. Right now, some of the clients I have is Monroe County. I had a hearing with them today where I was almost not going to make this because I was going to be in Key West. Brevard County, Charlotte County. I've represented Miami-Dade in the past. I've represented the governor's office in matters. I've been on the board member for the Florida Association of County Attorneys. I've also been the Florida chair for the International Municipal Attorneys Association. Looking forward to helping the city out.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And now, I know some of you probably stated some of the information that I'm probably going to ask you, but I want to be consistent in my questions to both candidates, so I'm going to start with a couple of questions. What experience do you have in dealing with the legislative body, i.e. city council, et cetera?
Yeah, like I said, I've been the city or county attorney for 13 years, 10 years at Osceola County as the county attorney, 3.5 years at city of Sioux City, Iowa, which is a 100,000 person city. Currently, I represent 3 CDDs, which are community development districts, and they have an elected body, and I'm their district attorney. So that's my experience as the city attorney or the county attorney or district attorney. In addition to that, I'm constantly representing these boards from the various cities that we represent. Winter Gardens Planning Board, Winter Gardens city commission, and so I have an extensive experience with the legislative bodies.
All right. What personal experience do you have pertaining to land use or other city government law, such as sunshine, ethics, public records law?
Deal with it on a daily basis, and I have, one of my strengths is land use. When I was in Osceola County, we had, I started there, it was 250,000 people. When I left, there were 350,000 people. That's 100,000 person growth in 10 years. A lot of that came from development. We changed a lot of ranches into grew houses instead of growing grass out there. And I went through all the travails of that. I rewrote our land development code, rewrote the comp plan with staff, and that was like a 2 or 3 year project. So I have a lot of experience with it.
All right, thank you. So have you ever worked on an annexation agreement or ordinances or both?
I've worked on both annexations, and I actually opposed an annexation with the city of Eustis for some residents at one point. I've worked with an annexation with the town of Dundee in the past, and so I've worked on annexation agreements between the county and the cities as well.
All right. Are you willing to be present during council meetings and other board meetings that require attorneys' presence?
Yes.
Are you board certified?
No, I am not.
So if you're not, are you planning on becoming board certified?
I've been considering it. When I was county attorney, it just didn't seem like it was necessary, but we have 4 board certified attorneys at my firm, and they've been cajoling me to take the test.
Why do you feel you are best qualified to be our interim city attorney?
Well, I think in an interim, you're going to need somebody that has some experience to deal with the transition. I can give a fresh set of eyes. I have a lot of experience. In addition, you get the backup of my firm. So if somebody has a funeral they have to go to, they get sick, a personal issue, you're not going to be attorneyless. What if there are 2 meetings where you need an attorney at 2 or even 3 or 4? My firm could cover 4 different meetings at the same time. If there's a court case, we can cover that. We have litigators. We have, I can provide that to the city, and that's not something that an individual can do.
Wow, thank you. One last question. Why do you want to be our interim city attorney, or your firm, you and your firm?
Well, Manny speaks highly of you, so that's part of it. And secondly, generally, this is what I do. I enjoy local government law. I've been doing it my entire career. Sebastian seems like a very nice place to do it, and so it's a career.
All right, thank you. Vice Mayor?
So you travel a lot, it seems. There we go. It seems that you do travel a lot, like you said, in Monroe County today.
Sure.
You're not interested in being our full-time attorney, correct? Just the interim attorney?
I understand that you're looking for an internal candidate, someone that would be, inside, and I'm not interested in that. If the city were ever interested in having outside counsel, then I would be interested in that.
Okay, thank you. What do you consider one of your biggest strengths?
Well, my breadth of experience, but really in addition, I tend to get along with almost everyone. I have a calm demeanor. I'm able to handle difficult situations. So that's one of my better strengths.
All right, I'm good. Thank you.
Mr. Dodd?
I just have one question. After the meeting tonight, you still want to come in here and do this?
I could tell you war stories from other cities. I mean, this is a very nice meeting.
That's why Manny says good things about us.
It's a very nice meeting.
Okay. So, no, I'm satisfied. You have the time and the opportunity. We have we will have needs during the week for someone to be here to work with our staff on issues, and that's not an issue for you to do that, correct?
I'm sorry.
We'll have needs Other than that, other than attending meetings,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna have needs for someone to be here to work with our staff during the meeting, during the week, on issues they may have. I mean, we have growth
Yeah.
management might be talking about something where they need a legal opinion and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm available in person, on Zoom, on the phone,
Okay.
on the weekends, during the week. I'll be around.
Okay, sounds good. I'm fine, thank you.
Ms. Dixon,
I'll stick with the same question.
there you go.
How would your colleagues speak to your character?
That's, I think they would speak highly of me. I mean, my staff in Osceola County, when I was there, we had a great professional, collegial environment. I'm not really someone that like nitpicks what people do. I give them a task and then they go do it, and we have fun, but we're professional. And that's kind of the way I am in the office too. So I think they would speak highly of me.
Great, thank you.
Mr. McPartlin.
Mr. Dodd stole my question, so, I mean, thank you for coming, and Mr. Anand, thank you. I think you brought us two very good candidates. And again, this is for the interim, and, I mean, I'm comfortable, but thank you for attending.
All right, thank you, sir. Would you like a closing statement or anything?
Well, I mean, I think my experience, the fact that you're going to be getting one of the top local government firms in the state of Florida, and, in all likelihood, I won't be a candidate for the interim job unless the council comes to their senses and says, let's use outside counsel. I think it plays really well for an interim role, and so I would be, I'd be honored to serve this city.
All right, thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to bring the other one back in, or we
Yes,
just need to?
I think at this point, Mr. Mike can have a seat. We'll bring back Mr. Edwards, and then council's pleasure. If you want to take a 5-minute break, or what do you want to do?
Do you guys want to take a break before we rule on this?
I'd
Yeah,
like to
take
take 5.
5 minutes and then come back. All right, we're in recess for 5 minutes. All right, so where we at? I have nothing else left in my agenda, so what are we gonna do here?
I think we're selecting an interim attorney.
Oh, that's
We
what
have
we're...
till 9:30 to do that.
No, we're gonna get that done now. Okay. I am starving. All right. Now, I suppose we need to make a decision, council. I'll entertain a motion or a nomination, I should say, for one candidate or not.
I'll make a motion to nominate Mr. Mai.
So we have Mr. Mai. Any other?
I'll make a nomination for Mr. Edwards.
All right. So we have Mr. Mai and Mr. Edwards. Any discussion on that? Let's go ahead and call the vote, Madam Clerk.
Could you ask for public input, Mr. Mayor?
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I'm just trying to get out here, maybe because I'm hungry or something. I'm sorry, I forget stuff, so. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on which attorney they'd like to see as the City of Sebastian's interim attorney? Is there anyone on Zoom?
No one has raised their hand.
Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Dixon.
So I just say who I choose?
Yes.
Mr. Mai.
Councilmember Dodd.
Mr. Mai.
Councilmember McPartlin.
Mr. Edwards.
Mayor Jones.
Mai.
Vice Mayor Nunn.
Mr. Mai.
Okay, Mr. Mai. Received the...
All right.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, just one thing, I want to make sure that Mr. Edwards understands that we are certainly welcoming him to apply for our permanent position.
Yeah, absolutely.
In this, so.
Yep. Thank you for that.
I was impressed with his qualifications, so.
Yeah. So, all right, next item on our agenda is 13, City Attorney Matters. Mr. Nunn.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. One more before we leave the interims. Do you want to designate someone or myself to start talking to him as far as Mr. Mai getting a contract going? That's one thing we haven't discussed. Mayor and I can do that. I know he submitted certain things, but obviously it's up to council to make that final decision, so.
Yeah, no, that's
As
fine.
as far as what the council agrees to pay him. I mean, I know he has it set stuff, so however you guys want to work that out, just let me know.
All right, yeah, I can work with you on that. I can work with you on that, and we can get the contract.
Okay, so.
And when's your actual last day?
You know what, sir? I was just having a question about that with the HR. I'm gonna have to call the city of Melbourne, because I just realized that I am going to be without, my daughter is going to be without health insurance for a whole month because of when I'm leaving on the 20th. I only get covered to the end of the month. Whereas if I wait another week, beginning of April, then they'll cover the whole month of April. So I'm definitely going to call Melbourne tomorrow and let them know that situation, and maybe now I might start beginning of April.
Okay, that's fine. So that gives you plenty of time to make that transition.
Yes, for sure. All right, other than that, I just want to let you know that that the negotiation sessions for the union, we're going to have one tomorrow. I'm sure there's more to report, and pretty much that's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nunn. Mr. Carlisle.
Yes, Mayor, I have a few items. One is we're continually moving out of the old compound. There's some real interest in that compound right now. And I would like to get permission to bring back to council at the next meeting a proposal to put that out to bid, because by statute we have to put it out to bid and get some ideas of what you would like to have on that bid document for it to go out, for someone to give us a proposal on it. I'd like to talk with each one of you individually about some of the things that some people are looking at, and so that we can make a good faith bid out there and not necessarily go by just price, but by what's best for that compound area. And so there's some things with that we'll need to discuss. So I'd like to have permission to put that on the agenda for council's direction on the old compound property.
Yes.
I would agree, absolutely.
The mayor, the council member Dodd and I are leaving next week to go to Tallahassee to talk with our legislators. I had sent you an email regarding one of the affordable housing issues that has come up that would even affect current properties that already have a plat. I don't know how mechanically that's going to work, because the legislature would be then forcing the landowner to change their plat or modify their plat to accommodate a state legislature, and would that trigger a Byrd-Harris Act? I don't know. That's why we'll have our attorney talk about it. But what I'm requesting, because time is of the essence, is for you all to, out of consensus, give the mayor the ability to draft a letter for Councilmember Dodd and I to take to Tallahassee and give it to the Florida League of Cities and to the Treasure Coast League of Cities and to our legislatures as we meet with them when we have our meetings. For them, there's certain cities have already sent letters and resolutions opting out of that because they've already got pre-platted, they've been platted for years like we have, and to force that on a community that's already in development, we don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair that the legislature should dictate to us how we do that anyway, but I think in this case, I think time is of the essence that we need to get opted out of that current statute as it's written.
Yes.
We just need consensus from council. And I'll draft a letter for the mayor's signature, or me and Randy will.
I'm all for it, yeah. I think, we need to stick with our motto of local voices making local choices. The state's trying to take away our local voices to make local choices, so.
Yeah, and this affordable housing is a moving target, as we know. We've discussed it ad nauseum, and no one has a real definition of it, and they're gonna force something down onto the municipalities that is not definable. It's without any, it's an unfunded mandate, and it could take away people's land right uses. So that's one thing I'm just going to bring up. The last thing is I have a meeting set up for after we get back with Mr. Linehan from the Treasure Coast League of Cities to help start that strategic plan process.
Good. All right.
I think that's all I have.
Very good.
Unless you have questions for me.
City Clerk, I know you have something tonight.
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor.
All right, there you go.
I would like to thank the town crier for drawing attention to our birthday celebration.
Oh, who was that?
Meeting.
Was that me?
Yes.
Thank you.
We got front page news. And we are definitely looking for historical photos and stories to display during the celebration year.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Madam Clerk? All right, City Council matters. Looks like I'm the first one on the list, and I have nothing. Vice Mayor Nunn.
Yes. Two things. One, I'll go the easy one first. Can we talk about the hotel property here too, as soon?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yes.
So you already gave us direction to put it back out to bid.
Okay.
And the bid documents are being, and with some of the same conditions we had when the building was there. So our purchasing agent is putting those documents together, but we're waiting to see what this visioning plan tells us for that property, because that is one of our catalyst properties. So I've been talking with Ms. Frazier, and she's actually the one that brought it to my attention that, hey, I know they want to get it out to bid, but is it possible to wait to find out what the visioning process says that catalyst site should be, and then go out to bid? But we're working on that, on getting that out there.
All right, fair enough. Thank you.
All right, well, how long are we talking about with that, waiting for that to get this property out for bid?
So she is informing me that the visioning process documents should be done by the end of this month, so we should be able to have that out by next month.
All right, very good. Sorry
Barring
about that,
any.
Mr. Nunn.
No, thank you. So the second thing I wanted to bring up was commercial limited zoning. So for you that don't know, I learned recently that we have one small section of commercial limiting zoning in our city. It is the site of
Space Coast Credit
Space Coast Credit Union, thank you. And one of the challenges with commercial limited zoning is it doesn't allow drive-throughs, which I know you all are probably saying the same thing in your head that I said right now. Doesn't Space Coast Credit Union have a drive-through? So also the property over there in front of Anytime Fitness next to the bank, there's parties that are interested in possibly opening something that has a drive-through there. That would be a great benefit to our city. And the challenge is in commercial limited zoning, there's no drive-throughs, but yet there's a bank with a drive-through, so it's interesting. So what I'm proposing is that we bring it up for discussion next meeting and possibly add the brain just went empty.
A zoning change?
Well, not a zoning change, but actually
Special condition?
a special condition,
Okay.
which can be decided without having to change the zoning of the property, but it still goes before the proper channels to have the special approval or condition to it to allow a drive-through in that property. I just wonder if, what interest is, if we can bring that up for, next meeting to put on the agenda, or if there's questions.
Where is the Space Coast Credit Union? My mind is
Over
blown away.
next, in front of Anytime Fitness on 510.
By the public.
Yeah, by public.
Okay,
Yeah,
now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just
I'm-
Publix
I'm
over there.
Piece of
going,
property
where
that
is that? Okay.
someone is interested in is the chunk of property next door to that, and it's the right
Have they
size
applied?
property for
Have
a
they
business.
applied? Is it okay if the staff responds?
No,
Yes,
no, you
please.
can have them respond, yeah.
There's been no application
Not
for
yet.
it. They're doing their just looking at the plausibility of doing it, and that's what they found out that drive-throughs weren't allowed in commercial limited. And for a shock to me, it's also in the CRA, no drive-throughs, and I think
Well,
Duncan is trying to put a drive-through in, but,
Duncan's already made the announcement they're gonna put a drive-through.
and it's not allowed in the CRA.
So
That's a secondary discussion that we need to have.
Yeah.
but that
with
needs
the
to go,
CRA
does that
as
not
well.
go through the Planning and Zoning Commission though? Are they not the ones?
It will have to go through planning and zoning, but we need direction. So she's telling me that our code does allow for special exceptions.
Okay.
Special conditions, even if it's not in the zoning. So we'll revisit that.
So there's not something that we need to
We
have
may not
discussion
have to.
about yet?
We
Okay.
may not have to.
All right, that would be good.
From my understanding, when you had talked to me, they were told no.
Said they were told no because no drive-throughs allowed, and that was a important part of the business
Right.
plan of that business.
So that's why we had our discussions.
Correct. Okay.
I'll do my due diligence and research it further, and we'll figure it out for next month,
You know,
next meeting.
part of this job is making decisions, and sometimes decisions are really, really, really hard. And I know when you're sitting there and thinking, you think it's not a hard decision, but we don't get to come up here and think about what we want. It's not about what I want. It's about what all of the citizens want. And sometimes that's a hard thing to do, even with lots and lots of input, because you know you're going to make somebody angry. You're going to make somebody mad. I've already been called a communist tonight because I voted to,
You don't have to go there, we're fine with that, we
to
understand.
go with the universal. So, you know, the names, do you understand? So,
Yes.
I just understand all five of us live in this city, and all five of us have the same bills you have every day, and we want to make the best decision for everybody the best we can, and sometimes somebody's going to be unhappy, and we apologize for that, but it's the way of the job.
Sorry, I was making noise, there was a bug over here, I don't like bugs.
And now I have the heebie-jeebies.
Ms. Dixon.
Yeah, my sentiments exactly, Mr. Nunn. Tonight was a very difficult decision, and one I don't think any of us took lightly, and thoroughly listened to all of the input. I read every email, I tried to respond to all of them, and in the end, I think we made the right choice for the city and the city's future. And I understand some people may be unhappy, and unfortunately, that's part of this, which is very hard. I'm a type A person. I like to always do good and make people happy, and that's the tough part of this job here. I did go to the meet and greet for the county administrator last week and met with several of the candidates. Yes, Mr. Jones, you were there. Mr. Nunn, you were also there. I think the county chose the right person, in my opinion. I met Mr., I'm going to butcher his last name. Yeah, right.
John got it?
Tikinich? So, yeah, I will learn it. He's actually a UCF alumni, so that was fun. But he has a young family. I think it's wonderful that they're living in North County. As someone who grew up in Sebastian and always felt Sebastian was neglected, it's great knowing our county administrator is going to be kind of right up here within our local schools and stores, and not in the city limits, but right nearby. So I'm excited about the future.
And he moved here before.
He moved here before he
job
took
ever
the
even
job.
was
Yes,
talked
they
about,
have a
so.
house being built right
That's
now.
great.
Right, they're building a house out in BLE.
Yes.
Correct, yeah.
Mhm.
I know the gentleman well, so.
Army
yeah.
Ranger, very nice guy.
Very nice.
Yep. All right, who do we have now? Mr. Dodd.
Oh, good. I don't want to extend the meeting out very much. I'm not going to talk about being a communist because my vote It seemed like it was 2-2 until they got to me every time, and I don't think I could win on that, no matter what happened, so. And I'm sure I didn't with some people that I know very well who were not in favor of the way I voted, but, Mr. Carlisle, we've talked about a project list and trying to get some information on that. Are you prepared to provide us with that list, or what's?
We're having a meeting tomorrow with staff in the morning to talk about our project list.
Okay, and then you can provide us a copy of the list and so forth?
I can.
Okay, that sounds good. I just want to thank city staff. I mean, you guys hung around tonight. You were Herculean in hanging around tonight. I don't know whether he made you stay or not, but it was great to see you hanging around and knowing that you were there. These guys do a great job. All these people sitting on that 2 rows right there do a great job, so thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Mr. McPartland, final word.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad that Mr. Carlisle and Mr. Dodd are going to Tallahassee next week. And being that you are going, I have one request, okay? And Mr. Dodd, you're very familiar with Chris Stevenson from the Senior Resource Association who runs the goal line. They're doing a presentation up there and need support on the transportation disadvantage. Make sure that they get whatever grant money they need or talk to, because they take those dollars and make them like $100. And they do a phenomenal job, not only in Indian River County, they also do Martin County, because I'm on that board down there. And we've actually been able to change Martin County's mindset to support more so they can get the matching dollars. So if you run into Mr. Stevenson, or just call him, because I know they're up there, him and Karen Deagle, and anything that they need, because you know what they do with the dollars up there, and support whatever initiatives they have, because they bring it home for us as well. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
That's it, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're also going back up in April, right? Yeah, something like that. We'll be up there at the Capitol. Ed and I will be up there along with other Treasure Coast League of Cities representatives fighting for cities. So, again, thank the staff. I know this was a long meeting tonight. I know my wife is very hangry. I am too. So we're going to adjourn this meeting. Go eat.